You have the right to remain silent. Forever.
He's still alive.
There is something in the streets. Something in the shadows. Something in the dark.
Oh, thank God it's you.
You think a cop did this? He enjoys killing.
He strikes without cause.
Maniac Cop?
When the killer is a cop. Suspicion in every uniform. This is one maniac you'll have to face alone or die.
You can't kill the dead.
When a cop turns killer, no one is safe.
Broke out of your cell, you killed them all. It wasn't me, it was somebody else.
What'd you see?
I saw Matt Cordell.
Did you ever see anything so nasty?
Who's ready to raise a little hell?
It must be visiting hours, cause my friend is back.
Maniac Cop.
Yes, y'all, it's going down right now. Episode 268 of the Triple Shots of Moodz and Horror Podcast is coming at you live and direct with the homie, JP, also known as the Mexicans. And we got Mr. Saucedo, also known as Tyler in the house. And I'll be your host, a toxic offender, Moodz Gia. What's going on, dudes?
What's up?
Chilling like a villain. Oh, man. Yeah, 268 episode 200. It's just, man, dude, like we are. I was actually thinking about this last night, and I was like, man, we're approaching 270, and then it's gonna be like 280, 290. We're getting pretty close to, like, we might even hit 3,000. Well, maybe not this season.
3,000.
300. No, because that's 32. I mean, we would have to put in, because we did what, like 28 episodes last year? Last season?
Yeah.
So it was pretty close. Like
we started earlier than we did last year.
Yeah.
This was like the weekend we started last year, so we already have an extra one in the bag and a half of one.
I mean, I think that hitting 300 would probably be better for next season because, like, to be honest, this season's already so crammed. Like, we have like another couple top 10 shows to do. We have like we have like 3 more top 10 shows that we're doing. Like, we have so many big. Oh my god. Yeah. This. Sorry, lost my.
I was gonna say, like, what did you see, a bug or something?
Yeah. No, I just saw something
named Derrick Henry.
What the fuck just happened?
One play, 87 yards, time of possession, 12 seconds.
Okay, good stop defense. That was real fucking good.
For those of you who don't know, Moodz is a big Buffalo Bills fan, and while we're recording, the Bills-Ravens game just started.
Yeah, like literally just started. That was the first play from Baltimore.
Baltimore, yeah.
But yeah, anyways, no, I don't honestly think that we'll hit 300 this season. So, I mean, it'll be probably early next season, but we got to start coming up with a plan for that.
Yeah.
For 300. I mean, that's a pretty big episode. So,
yeah, it's a huge milestone. Huge.
Yeah. Because
we would have to, like, not planning the weeks I know we're already going to miss. We'd have to miss like actual 0 weeks.
Yeah. 32 is a lot. I don't know if we've ever done that many episodes even in a season, but last season was like the busiest we had in so many years. It's crazy.
Yeah, it would definitely be best anyway to like have a whole summer to like prep for whatever we decide we're going to do.
Yeah, it's going to be something pretty extravagant. So maybe we'll do the top 300 slashers.
Oh shit.
I'm just fucking around with you.
Or it could be top 100 and it would be 100 from each of us.
Well, you've already done the prep, so I mean,
no, I didn't.
Yeah.
Well, that was
Did you not end up recording that show?
No, that was the weekend I had like the family emergency, or the week I had the family. It was like the night before we were supposed to record.
Right, so right.
I ended up bailing out on it, which sucks. I did want to do that show, but I'll be honest, like I only watched like 50 extra that that I hadn't like seen recently. I just was too busy to like commit to a lot of watches. But however, like listening to it made me really wish I was there because it's cool. It's a good show for those listeners. Check it out. Exploding Heads. It's Carly, Dave Z, Christian, and Greg Mortis.
Oh yeah, Greg was on that show, right?
Yeah, top 50 slashers.
That must have been a long show, man.
It's 2 parts.
Yeah. So how long is it total?
I feel like it's not that. I'm almost done with part 1, and I feel like I haven't listened that long.
Interesting. I think if we did like a top 50 or top 100, man, our show would be like fucking 24 hours long.
We did a top 50 directors, I think.
Yeah, the top 50 director show was long.
And we did a top 50 favorite
wasn't
films.
Wasn't that top? Yeah, I mean, I don't remember how long those ones were specifically, but I think the director one was long. Like it was like 7 hours, wasn't it?
Probably.
Something like that. Like it was fucking
I don't
long.
remember. That was a long time ago.
That was Mr. Parker was on that one.
Yeah.
Who was on the top 50 favorite films? Was it just
Jeremy? I think was there.
Was he on that
I think
one?
it was just.
Did we not?
Jeremy was on the director's one too.
Yeah.
Oh right, okay, yeah, he was still doing it. Oh right. So there was 4.
We kept making fun of him for having all like pretentious directors.
Right, because we had 4 people. We had 4 people on that one, right? So I'm thinking the top 50. We must have just had the regular cast. So yeah, but I don't know. I mean, it's an idea. I mean, it's kind of a steal from Exploding Heads, but at the same time, I mean, what else can we possibly do?
Exploding Heads invented slasher lists, top slasher lists.
Right. Like, I mean, we did the top 100
sure most. They wouldn't care.
That for episode 100 was the top 100 most influential films, which you still get the odd comment to me like, why is this one here? Why is this one bad? I'm like, it's
obviously influential. But obviously that was fucking like 10 years ago.
Yeah, your opinions are going to change in 10 years.
Oh, of course. But I mean, that list was done. It wasn't like a best of list. It was influential, right? Because sometimes a movie could be not even that great, but it influenced so much stuff, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Right. So that list is totally different. And then when we did our favorites, that's obviously a totally different list. That's not a best of list. That's our personal favorite list. So those are all going to be completely different. And the directors, favorite directors and stuff like. Yeah, I mean, we've done these things. So what's next? Slashers, just by default.
Haunted house movies.
Top 100.
No. Slashers, like when you think about like doing a big subgenre, right? Like a top 100. Slashers are probably like the easiest out of like to do a top 100 list.
Yeah,
I think I really struggle with the definition of a slasher because some of the like titles that people were throwing around like over like the summer of that chat, like I would have never considered a slasher.
Well, like, I think that like, go ahead, Tyler.
Like what kind of titles?
For example, like I wouldn't consider something like High Tension a slasher. I wouldn't consider something.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't consider that. What was another one that's like I wouldn't consider Hush a slasher?
Well, do you just consider like psychological horror?
No, it's just I think like something almost like home invasion or like kind of like to me like a slasher movie is like in the broad spectrum like people in a location getting knocked off. And like when you start doing things like it's a home invasion movie, now it's a road movie, now it's this psychological movie, I think like you're kind of like losing like what a slasher is. You know what I mean?
I mean, there is different types of slashers.
Well,
right?
I agree with you in the sense of like Hush or something, but I feel like
I don't consider Hush to be a slasher film though. Really,
that was just like some things I saw
is a slasher.
Those are things I saw just thrown around that I wouldn't have like really considered slashers, but like. I know they were also going with no franchises.
Well, for those of you who don't know, they've done 2 slasher lists. So years ago, they did a top 50 favorite slashers, which everything was included, but they were very, very strict on what was considered a slasher. So like stuff that was like up in the air, they would maybe not include. Whereas like this list, they didn't include any franchise stuff, but they had a more loose definition of what a slasher is. And I think Dave Z kind of just was like, you know what, F it. Like if it feels slasher enough, we could count it. But because like I think that like you have like traditional slashers, like think of like most of them that came out in like 80 to like 83, right?
Yeah, I think I'm more of a traditionalism, I think, because like I really like
like the
80s and 90s slashers.
The definition of like the stalk and slash, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's very, very simple. Very plain.
Like, do you consider Peeping Tom a slasher?
Not really. Like, I see where like they get the idea from, but it's like two people get killed in the movie. Like one of them is Offspring, and it's
the idea is there though.
Movie. I mean, the idea is there.
I mean, it's still a stalk and kill movie. Like, I mean, the core idea of a slasher is a stalk and kill. I mean, there's different ways to approach that idea, and I think like, and that's one term I've heard a lot of people use too, like about slasher films. Like, well, there's only like 2 deaths in the movie. Is it really like a slasher film? I'm like, man. I mean,
at April Fool's Day, there's no deaths in that film.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Right.
I think that's a corner case example, and it's not necessarily the deaths, because like another one, if I recall correctly, there's not really a lot of deaths in like something like The Final Terror or like Dead by or Just Before Dawn, right?
There's a lot of slasher films that have very minimal body counts.
Yeah.
Though,
so
right?
like it's not necessarily the body count thing, but I feel like that movie was way more of like kind of like a psychological, like voyeurism, like character study movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely arguments for that for sure. But I just feel like the raw elements are there.
In there, though, that's where it gets like weird to me, because like Maniac is a psycho.
Yeah, actually, like it was funny as you were saying.
I don't consider Maniac to be a slasher.
Maniac is something I probably would consider a slasher, but I can see the argument like being consistent, because as like JP was speaking, I was thinking to myself, I was thinking, well, that's exactly why I like Maniac, so maybe that's not necessarily a disqualifier.
But is Maniac like if you take the core idea of like a stalk and slash, right, is basically the core of like what a slasher film is. Do you consider the Frank Zito character to be stalking and slashing people?
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess in a sense, like it's there, but
like,
you spend so much time.
Not everybody that he kills, he stalks, but
that's what I'm saying.
But,
like,
it's not everybody, but like not every character in Friday the 13th is stalked before they're killed either. He just shows up sometimes and kills them.
Yeah, but I mean, that idea in Friday the 13th is always there.
Think, like,
he's lurking in the woods, and it's that whole idea. But like the Frank Zito character, like of Maniac, to me, it's more of like a character study. It's like a psychological character study of this fucking literal maniac,
psychological slasher.
Yeah. So I mean, the core, but that's coming full circle. What I was saying before, there's different ideas within the slasher genre.
It's not a traditional slasher. Like to me, a traditional slasher is like a prime example would be like Sleepaway Camp, right? Like you have a bunch of people around that are getting picked off. You don't know who the killer is. You don't spend any time with the killer until the killer is revealed. And they're just killed in different fun ways. Like that's a traditional slasher. But I think there's also like other types of slashers like Maniac, which is the difference there is you spend the whole movie with the slasher killer, which you don't do with like the more traditional slashers. Something like, to me, Tyler, with High Tension, that entire movie is the final act of a slasher film.
Yeah,
like practically, like that's why I consider that one a slasher. It's the entire chase. Think of like Friday the 13th Part 2 with like Amy Steele like running from Jason like in the final act. Like that's what High Tension is.
I mean, if we were to do a list like this, I wouldn't set boundaries. I would just let everyone decide on their own what they want to put on their list. Like, because everybody has a different definition or whatever. Like, I mean, there's tons of people out there that
too is like kind of separate home invasion movies and slasher, whether that's correct.
But home invasion is home invasion to me. Like you look at like Funny Games, like these guys go to this house and they hold them. That's not a fucking slasher film. That's a fucking home invasion movie. Like there's so many home invasion. Like Hush is like in a sense like he's toying with her, but like it's not a fucking slasher movie. It's a home invasion film, really. So
Greg had Hush on his list.
See, like I've never even looked at that movie and ever thought twice that it wasn't just a straight up home invasion movie. It's interesting to me, but then again, I'm not going to say that he's wrong. I mean, if that's what he considers to be,
Dave Z said he didn't consider it slasher enough for himself.
But then again, I've had this argument with a lot of people too, because I mean, this used to be it still gets brought up every once in a while with Black Christmas. Some people don't consider it to be a slasher film, other people do. And I mean,
this
the
is
core
what I've
idea of
changed my opinion on. I used to say this isn't really a slasher. Like, I get where the proto slasher name comes from, but now I would consider this movie a slasher now.
I think Black Christmas is a straight up slasher because in theory, if you're looking at the whole stalk and slash thing, that's exactly what Black Christmas is doing. They're literally being stalked and killed off one by one, and it's very unique in the sense that you never get to see the killer in that one. It's never revealed, so it's like, even I think that's what kind of throws off people a little bit in that one too, but. Because it's not your like standardized.
I think my thing with reveal. That movie is I always felt like it was like so much of like a slow burn and just like kind of this like paranoia movie that I kind of separated from the idea that it was a slasher. But if I think about it logistically, it's literally like, it's some guy like hiding out, stalking girls, killing girls when he has a chance.
Yeah, well, I think like when you look at just the movies that, like, if you're talking slashers pre Friday the 13th. They were just slower, right? Like Texas Chainsaw is slower. There's only like 4 deaths. Like it's Black Christmas is slower, and it's
bloodless too. I'm not saying that your slasher movie has to be bloody and gory, but I'm just saying Chainsaw is such an interesting.
I've always thought the best stuff about Chainsaw wasn't even the violence.
Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff. Like,
I love the violence in Chainsaw.
I'm not saying I don't like the hook. Like, ugh.
My favorite thing about Chainsaw is actually the way it's shot. Like, just the actual film, the film making techniques that Tobe Hooper used in that film gives it such a raw feel. And it's just like the actual
handhelds, all those close-ups.
Yeah, the visuals, like the way this movie presents itself to you is like a character. You know what I mean? It's like haunting itself. I don't know. There's something very unique about that movie. Not a lot of movies can do the same thing.
Like if we were to actually
sweat.
Oh yeah, definitely. If we were to actually do like a top 100 slashers, one, I would want it to be a top 100 so it was bigger and better than Exploding Heads. If we're gonna copy them, we might as well do more.
But I would. I think the only rule that I would do, sorry to cut you up, the only rule I would do with the top 100 would be no franchises.
No, fuck that.
I want the franchise.
Yeah, fuck that.
Because I don't want to fucking hear JP talking about fucking Friday 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's gonna have fucking probably 11 of the 12 movies in his fucking top 100.
I think I would have, and
you break that down to percentages, motherfucker. That's over 10% of your list. It's fucking Friday the 13th.
I like, damn it.
That's fucking lame, dude. I don't want to fucking hear. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear you defending fucking Jason Goes to Hell for fucking 45 minutes while I sit there and fucking try to carve into my wrist with a rusty butter knife.
You almost have to have franchises, dude.
I mean, okay, fair enough.
To be fair, too, like to counteract JP, I would like almost not have like no franchise. I'm not really a franchise guy. I would not have many franchises.
You know what's so funny? You're like, you always say that you're not a franchise guy, and then me and JP are like the hugest franchise guys.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, we're so polar opposite.
Not that like I dislike franchise, because when I was younger, like I loved like watching, like I watched like all the
That's what I grew up watching.
Like, yeah, I think the franchises have gotten worse, like kind of like as like I've been alive. Yeah. The only franchise I really like that like I feel really strongly about is Saw. And that's just like kind of like the best one I think I came up with.
This is so crazy. And it's probably the age gap too. I mean, it's more around your time. Like, I mean, I was obviously older when Saw came out too. I mean, whatever. But like, you know, for me growing up watching Friday films and Nightmare films when they were still coming out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, that's a different type. Like, that's my era.
14, I think. So, or like 13. So it was like perfect timing.
Right. I mean, I personally just don't like the Saw. Like, I like as a franchise. I think it's a really cool concept, and I really like the idea of it. But it's just something I don't find myself wanting to revisit over and over again.
Yeah, as somebody who just revisited Saw 6, Saw 7, Saw 8,
I saw your
Saw
reviews,
9, and Saw 10. I fucking love that franchise, man.
It's not something I'm like over enthusiastic about like revisiting, but I swear to God, it like doesn't matter like how like mediocre the Saw movie is in the middle. When it gets to that end and you finally get that turn where the music starts ripping and you get like Jigsaw comes on and goes like, "Hello, Steve."
Dude,
and,
the funny thing about
it's incredible.
Dude, the funny thing about him, like I watched Saw 6, which is arguably one of the best in the franchise. Like, it's probably my second or third favorite. and then Saw 3D, which isn't very good, Jigsaw, which is like it's okay, and Spiral, which did not hold up. The thing about it's actually not as bad on rewatch. I feel
I really did, and Jigsaw I thought was terrible too. Actually,
because if you watch them like kind of close together, like Jigsaw is actually has like very little continuity, but Saw 3D actually like answers a good bit of questions and like even sets up a few. But the funny thing about it is like once you start watching them, it's hard to stop. And I'm usually not like that. But like I watched Saw 6 and then I was like actually looking forward to Saw 3D and then Jigsaw and Spiral, and Saw 10 is actually like it even held up. Like I mean, wow, Saw 10 is awesome.
I get that.
Yeah, I like Saw 10.
I mean, I get that, like from your vantage point, because like that's how I am with like Nightmare on Elm Street. If I watch the first movie, I have to watch the first 3. The first 4, and then I'll fuck, I might as well 5, 6, and then, but like I understand that, and
dude, specifically like Saw 6 is so fucking complicated. Like there are so many things, so many moving parts in that movie, like so many questions, so many like things getting answered. Like it is just it's almost like they took like all this stuff from like 2 Saw movies and like packed it into one. But on top of that, like it just narratively is like fantastic.
I just think that like the Saw franchise to me was always such a fucking headache to me, because like
it is. But the more you watch it, the more it's easier to like
but like understand. I just always thought it was the weirdest franchise. Like there's like 10, 11 films in that franchise now, and like the killer dies in the 3rd one.
Yeah.
Yep. So all these movies after the fact, so like the last 7 movies are taking place before basically the first one. It's like all this story before, and I'm like, this is the weirdest concept.
Well, because like Saw,
pretty much
they hop around because like Saw,
because 4 happens at the same time as 3.
Yeah, like you take like Hoffman takes over but
I'm just saying they're all pre part 3 because he's still alive in all these narratives, right?
No, but they're flashbacks.
That's what I'm saying. But no matter how you look at it, he's alive. So it has to be taking place before he dies in part 3, right? That's just what I'm saying. So,
well,
it can't be after part 3 because he's dead.
No, but he's not like the only one that he's really in like that is the
5,
newest
right?
one.
Yeah, you're saying, because 5 like a whole flashback about his backstory. But yeah, the new one, he's just like.
But yeah, I mean, there's so much narrative like leading up to like I mean, this first and second ones and stuff. It's crazy to me that they wrote that franchise like that.
I'm actually looking forward to the next one. I'm curious what they're gonna do with it.
Yeah, me too. Like, just keep them rolling. I don't even care.
Yeah, I'm down. It's like I give it so much credit the more time goes on, because it's just like, although the story is incredibly convoluted, they're still rolling with the same story this deep in, and it's just cool.
Yeah, but it seems like a lot of the other franchise. Yeah, it seems like that's the thing.
You can
how?
They could find a way. They kind of did with Spiral.
They turned Michael Myers into like a cult. Like they can think of something if they want to.
Oh,
but they didn't.
Yeah, you just do something else, like they did with Spiral. It's just so
I mean, at this point, though, doing something else would be so jarring because you've done the same thing,
right?
And you explored the same narrative through like 10 movies.
The worst idea.
Yeah, like I mean, if you're going to explore the same narrative through 10 movies, I mean, you might as well keep rolling with it. Like changing it up for me would be devastating. Yeah. Right, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of silly. I wouldn't want to see it change.
A lot of negative backlash for that.
Yeah, I don't think they would ever do that.
Spiral kind of did that, right? Like, but
it's like really a one-off, though. It's a one-off, though, right? That's a little bit different. I get that, like, kind of offshoot narrative to the story, but like, it's not really that fully connected. Like, you could totally watch that movie by itself, right? So
yeah, you can. But to go back to like the slasher thing, the thing I was trying to say. So like the thing that I struggle with the most when like classifying slashers isn't necessarily like the same issues Tyler have. To me, it's the crossover with Italian films, because that's
another thing I would be concerned about.
So I think everybody considers Stage Fright a slasher, not a giallo.
It's not a giallo. It's a fucking
right. Yeah. So, but last night I was watching Opera at the drive-in, and I'm like, this is kind of a slasher. Like, I don't think Opera is really a giallo. It's more of a slasher.
But I mean, there still is that whole investigative angle to it, though,
but
right?
It's very minor. It's like how much time do you actually spend with the investigator?
Not a whole lot. You're right.
Like barely any at all.
I mean, like, technically, there's like an investigative angle in like all.
I feel like Argento created.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, it's not the forefront. I feel like Giallo, that's like the forefront whenever it's a Giallo. But like, I would like, if I was doing a top 100 slasher films, I would highly consider Opera. I would maybe need to rewatch it with a specific point of watching if I think it's a slasher or Giallo.
Opera is also created around the time where Argento was developing a lot of Americanized Italian films. You know what I mean?
I think the thing about
when they developed Demons with Lamberto Bava in '85, like his conception of that film was was for American audiences, hence the soundtrack and how.
Oh yeah, you can definitely even see him toying with that.
That's why he was. I think that's why Opera, it doesn't present itself as a typical Giallo, and it feels more Americanized slasher because that was what he was going for. He was trying to appeal that type of idea to the American audiences, right? Change the style a little bit because it's right in that era, like 85, 86, 87. Like, I mean, he was all those movies. I mean, you look at the majority of Italian films that came out after 85, between 85 and 90, they all feel so American, right?
I think the thing about Opera for me, where I would draw the line and probably give it the nod to Giallo, is it has that animal trope that's like much more of a Giallo thing. Like the thing about Giallo too is.
Yeah, you can apply that to Italian cinema for sure, but at the same time, it still feels very American, though.
This is like
I feel like that doesn't really. I don't feel like that's like really an Italian.
It does feel very American to me, though.
The thing about like I've always kind of given Giallo some slack for, where they're a little bit goofy sometimes, or there's like some convoluted parts about them, is like they're supposed to just be like kind of like these exaggerated like cult like kind of like pulpy things, and that's why like something like ridiculous stuff that wouldn't make sense with like birds and other animals, like I kind of just like let fly, because this is more of it's a little different than like something that's supposed to be grounded, I've always like felt. So I think to be safe, unless we're talking like something like stage fright, I'd probably just like be really lay off of the Italian stuff, because I would be the one that falls down the rabbit hole of like putting a million Giallos on my list.
No, see, I would like I would be very. I feel like I have a good conception of what a slasher is versus a Giallo, like more than the average fan, just because I hear people like call things that are slashers Giallos, and hear them call things that are Giallos slashers. So. Mm-hmm. But I honestly don't think that's a half bad idea to do a top 100 slashers. But I think that whenever you really like think about like what like 100 is a lot of movies, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think that like when you're coming up with a list, you might be more inclined to consider something like Opera because of the fact that
too.
Yeah. But
I mean, I'm not for myself. I don't think I'm going to have that difficult of a time coming up with 100 films like that. I would have to start thinking outside the box and be like, oh fuck, I
like
need to
what
some numbers
rating do you think you would start with?
Well, probably
100.
Probably 9.
What?
Just fucking. I don't know. Honestly, I would actually
start with.
I would actually have to break it down.
On the top 51, the non-franchise one, they started with 7.5s.
I mean, I would assume it's probably going to be around there for sure. But I mean, I have a lot of like 8s and 9s for slashers. I mean, if we start incorporating, franchises and stuff, like there's a lot of highly rated films like Friday films and Nightmare films and so on and so on. Like there's a lot of really good ones, right?
Yeah, it would be a huge undertaking. Like just wrapping my head around what I would include and not include. Like I probably wouldn't include Psycho, but I might include Psycho 3. Or
I would be okay with Psycho 2 and 3, but
like Psycho 2 and 3 feel like bona fide slash. I mean, you got to remember, Psycho 2.
They really are like kind of. I think that's like part of the thing where like
even though it's not a mystery who the killer is or whatever, like it still has that same feel to it. And plus,
those absolutely feel like slashers.
You look at 1982 when Psycho 2 came out. I mean, it was still like. I mean, we were on the downslide of the heyday of slashers, but at the same time, there still was a ton. right?
It definitely feels like something like cashing in on like obviously a beloved like game and
for sure,
like to cash in on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably consider both of those slashers. I would be okay with that. The first one, I agree that I want it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so but it would be a fun thing to do.
Yeah, I think
it would require. I mean, dude, you're probably gonna have to watch like 300 movies for that. I don't even know. Like that's a lot.
It's like slashers is so. I find it. I mean, it'll end up being like super hard for me to make, but like, I mean, I've always been a slasher guy. Right. So I've seen so many of them and I remember them. Like, I don't know. They always kind of just stick with me, but I don't think it'd be that hard to do, to be honest, especially if you're including franchises.
But how many do you think would be an approach? Like, don't you think you would need to watch like 300?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, I think there's easily 100 slashers I've never seen that might be worth checking out for list potential.
Yeah. It's getting to the point though in the 80s, like, man, I have seen.
Yeah, but
more than I even realized I'd seen.
Modern ones. That's where
like, the modern ones
for me are.
I mean, I don't want to cast a wide blanket, but like I'm really not a fan of modern slashers.
There's some good ones. Like, I mean, they're hit and miss with me, to be honest. Like a lot of the ones that have been coming out in recent years have been so generic.
It's just like it's the obvious bias like with me, but like I much just prefer like the charm of like the 80s and 90s slashers than I do of like today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that the modern slasher for me isn't very impressive. There's ones that I like that are pretty fun, like Hellfest is
I can't even think of one that like I've watched over the last couple of years, and I'm just like, yeah, that was really great.
There was a bunch of good ones in 2015.
You didn't like Terrifier 2?
No, I thought everyone was lying about liking it at first.
What?
I don't understand how someone couldn't like it, man. It was fucking.
Yeah, dude. Are you a horror fan?
This is fun as hell, dude.
It's so boring.
Like, it's insanely fucking awful. Like. It's effective with the kills though too, man. Like holy fuck, the kills are so good.
We both thought it was terrible.
Crazy. I still think that one kill, the girl in the bed, is like it's just fucking man.
It's so wild.
That is a wild kill, man.
This is the oh my god, I almost got into an argument with someone about this kill.
What the fuck are you guys doing?
Well, I almost got into arguing with someone about this kill because someone was trying to tell me someone was arguing about the substance that it's not realistic or something, and they were citing No, it was some random person, and they were also citing that I like realistic gore, like Terrifier 2. I was like, buddy, come on.
Yeah, that's not realistic.
No, that's fucking completely over the top gore.
Yeah,
it's ridiculously over the top.
I'm not saying the gore and the substance isn't over exaggerated over the top, but Terrifier 2 is realistic. Come on, buddy.
You know what? It's like saying it's like watching a fucking Japanese film and when they do the spray. And saying, oh yeah, that realistic gore, or gore, in those Japanese movies when, you cut someone's throat and it sprays for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was I will say though, even though I didn't like Terrifier 2, that scene in a movie theater was wild. And,
I wish I had got to see that in the theater, man, because that would have been pretty crazy.
Yeah, but and I'm glad a movie like that got so much homegrown attention and really made its way to the theater, because it opens opportunities for just super violent movies like that to maybe actually get a chance in the theater. And even though I didn't like this one, it's not like I don't like movies like this. And I think it's just a good thing for the genre that a movie like this picked up a lot of steam. And I'm definitely looking forward to the third one, even though I really haven't cared for the first two.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, obviously we have a million show ideas. I don't know if we will do. I mean, I'm sure the listeners would fucking love a top 100 each slasher episode, but I know Tyler's not that's not his favorite thing to do. So that's quite a lot of prep for something like that. But
I think I would end up prepping a lot less for you, because I'm probably have a harder opinion on the things that are going to be at the top of my list, that it wouldn't be as crazy as even when I made my top 100 list for Exploding Heads 2 years ago, I think going on 3 now, I actually did legitimately prep and watch 150 movies, but it was pretty easy to focus. I know these movies are going to make up the bulk of my list. There wasn't really any huge surprises. And like 3 years later, there's probably a lot of things that I would change. And I would probably just like probably loosen up on like my definition a little bit because I don't give a fuck anymore. But yeah, like I don't think it's like like I don't think I need to like watch like an extra like 100 like random slashers to like like fill out my list.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it was with me too. Like, when it comes to slashers, like I know what I like, and I know a lot of the films that would be on that list already. Like they just would be.
I mean, I feel that way with every list we ever do, but I always go.
The thing with like,
of course, I'm still going to put in the work.
The biggest blind spot would be like the modern slashers, and I'd probably just kind of like keep an eye on like what people are saying. But like, I have seen a really good amount of like 80s and 90s slashers. When I first started coming up and like really getting interested in like looking through horror, like slashers is kind of like where I started. So it's like I do have like a foundation of coming up with that. It's just over time, like as I watch different stuff, my taste has evolved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what we'll do for 300, but that is a possibility, maybe. I don't know.
I can guarantee one thing, that it'll be a very small percentage of like modern slashers on my list, like 2,000
Yeah, I think it would be like that, and if it even means I miss some like modern ones, like whatever, because like when I want to watch slashers, like I'm not going to be jumping for modern movies.
No.
Yeah, I don't know how many modern. I mean, I probably like the least amount of modern slashers compared to most people I know. In terms of like consider them like my favorites. I like something like Cold Prey, maybe.
I would probably consider something like X or Pearl.
X, not Pearl. Pearl isn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Pearly a slasher. X, I would probably be
X. Yeah, X feels more like a slasher.
Yeah, I would be surprised if X didn't make my top 100. But who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? We have a million other things to prep for too.
Yeah. I mean, this is like way the fuck down the road. I didn't think that we were going to go down that rabbit hole in that conversation.
Yeah, but it's a good conversation. I'm curious, listeners out there, leave a comment what you think of that idea, or if you have a different idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
we're definitely not married to it.
It's just definitely
it's on a big one to go to.
Yeah, it's definitely just a random idea. So. But I mean, we do have to come up with something because 300 is coming sooner than later, really. Like, I mean, these episodes are getting closer and closer. Like, I don't know. I just, you always feel like it's so far away until it's not. Why don't we just like make a deadline that by episode 275, we'll figure out what we're doing? Yeah, I mean, we definitely got to give ourselves some time to.
Yeah, because with 250, we did not we didn't even do something.
We didn't do anything.
No.
Then it landed on like the Christmas show or something.
It landed on like top 10 of 2000, like the year.
Okay, yeah, it was something like that.
Was it really? Shit.
Yeah. But 300 is like you have to do something on the 100 milestones. I don't think you have to do 50s. Once you get past like 150, I don't think you really need to do 50s anymore. Like something special. But 300, I definitely want to do something different.
Yeah. For sure. Yep. Man, there's a lot of fucking movies coming out this October.
Dude, I am so far behind on movies in general. Like 2024.
I'm catching up. I think I'm at 32 now, and I got 3 in this week.
I'm at 37 24 watches. So I mean it's not an extremely high number, but I've been keeping up. There's still a few that I need to catch up. Still need to see Maxine.
I literally have like 20 theatrical or like popular horror movies that came out this year.
Yeah,
in like an MB playlist that like I missed that I didn't see in the theater. I've only seen like 13 movies in the theater this year, which is like
I got 4 off this week. Oh, I've seen, I think.
All right, well then what did you watch? Curious.
All right, this week, so I watched The Substance first. That was earliest in the week. That Substance was great. Neither of you have seen it yet, right?
No, we didn't get it.
Didn't get it, and I've been busy.
Yeah,
fucking pissed off about really that. We didn't get The Substance, but then I got fucking Never Let Go and Speak No Evil remake. I'm like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah,
I can't even believe that we got Speak No Evil. Like, I just can't even fucking believe that.
Yeah, I'll wait till you guys have seen The Substance before we talk about it. But I saw Speak No Evil after.
Did you love The Substance or no?
I thought the first one was really good. Yeah.
Okay.
My initial reaction is it's like maybe the best horror movie in like 5 years, but
yeah, because Dave Parker loved it as well. He must have went and seen it because I saw him post about it, and he's actually supposed to do the show with us this year, which is pretty cool.
Which would be great.
Yeah, I was really shocked that he was so high on that because he usually does not come in very good on modern movies at all. Like he doesn't even watch enough even to that's why he hasn't been on any of these top 10 shows because he doesn't watch enough of them. So
well, he wasn't on last year, he was on the other ones.
Mm-hmm. It's a really well-made movie, and it throws a lot at you. And there's I've seen a lot of different takeaways from this film, and even like I haven't really seen anybody with like my same takeaway, but everyone I've really talked to it about seems to kind of agree with what I have to say for the most part. I think a lot of people like really focus on one aspect of this movie, and it, whatever that aspect may be, and there's a lot of different things that I say. I still think I may be like unpacking it a little bit now, but I really liked it a lot. Like in broad terms, I would say it's kind of like Requiem for a Dream meets Sunset Boulevard, but through the eyes of David Cronenberg and like Ari Aster's sense of humor.
Stream. You don't know if he's playing up the backup.
What in the fuck was that?
But yeah, so that was cool.
Well, that sounds like a really interesting mashup right there. So
I didn't
saw
watch
the Speak No Evil one.
Oh yeah,
what were you gonna say?
Oh, I thought you had listed off all of them already.
Oh no, I saw Speak No Evil, which I haven't seen the original, so I think I might have liked this more if I than I would have if I had seen the original.
Yeah, see where I've seen the original, and then this one it's the same movie, but the third act.
I don't even think I've even heard of the original.
It was on Shudder.
It's it only came out like 2 years ago, but yeah, that's kind of why I held off. So I had a feeling like the American version would water it down, so I just like didn't watch it.
It is. It's crazy. Like it's literally the same movie for like the first two acts, and the third act is obviously a lot different. But this is literally like a watered down and dumbed down version of the original. Like the original one is just so much more dark and bleak. And where this one completely does the Hollywood ending type of thing. And when you've seen the first one, you're like, holy fuck, dude, they just went straight Hollywood with this shit. Like, it's not even like it's a bad movie. Like, I get it from your vantage point. Like,
I thought it was decent.
Like, it's not a bad movie at all. But if you've seen the original, this one is just, it sucks. Like, it's just, you're just like, to the point where you're like, but it just doesn't make sense. I don't understand this remake. I really don't understand it. Like, all they did was just change the third act and totally water it down. And I'm like, okay, so, and it's 2 years old, man. It's 2 fucking years old. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. James McAvoy is really good at it. But yeah, like, I thought it was a good thriller. Like, I didn't think it was like anything crazy, but I thought it was like a solid movie that wasn't like mad I saw in the theater. I finally got in Beetlejuice.
Oh, it's
nice.
fun.
Beetlejuice.
I still haven't
Beetlejuice
seen it, man.
Decent. It was pretty. It's pretty decent. I didn't like. I thought there was like kind of like one like element of the movie that they focused too much on, and it took away from the most interesting parts of the movie. But I mean, it wasn't boring. It was like it was a good ride. It was fun. I had a lot of callbacks. It's
my biggest complaint
to complain about.
My biggest complaint with the new Beetlejuice movie is that there was too many plots going on.
I've heard that multiple times from people.
That was my only problem because there's so many plot lines and like so many things that are happening. It's not hard to follow or nothing. It's just the point is that it takes away from like maybe you want to watch this narrative a little bit more and stuff. I think they had way too much stuff with the dad. I think they did way too much stuff with the dad.
Exactly. That was exactly my complaint. That like
that didn't need to be that
trying to explain it. Exactly.
Shut up. That's you guys are saying too much.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Well, anyways, that one part of the movie, I feel like they just they just overdid. They spent way too much time with it, and the whole. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything else, but like there's a couple other plot lines that I thought that they probably could have definitely spent more time with.
I think we're on exactly the same wavelength with our complaints. Like it was still a good movie. It was fun. Like
it was honestly the aesthetic of the movie is exactly like the original one. It's really cool.
It feels like it's just modernized, and I was kind of like waiting on like a certain thing to happen in the movie from the original, and I was like going to test you. I'm like, oh, they're going to cheat us out of this, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So yeah, it was. I can't. It's not really any like big complaints I had. The movie was pretty good, and I just finished before watching. I watched a film called "Humanist Vampire Seeking a Suicidal Person," which is a movie that did really well.
That's a real title. That's a real title.
I swear to God, yeah. It honestly is. It's really good. I think people just like haven't really like locked in on it. It was doing really well at festivals last year.
You saw this in the theater?
No, it was doing really well at festivals, and like finally came out this year. So like, I haven't really heard anybody saying it. I watched it on MB.
Oh, okay.
It's a French Canadian movie, like Red Rooms. But yeah,
I haven't even heard of this.
It's just it's about this like vampire. It's about this family of vampires, and the youngest one what they find when she's young, that like her brain's like messed up, and when she sees like violence, instead of triggering her hunger, she like feels compassion for humans. So she's like a vampire that like doesn't have like the stones to actually like kill someone. So she like looks for suicidal people that'll like willingly like let her kill him.
Just when I thought that they couldn't do anything new with the vampire genre, that actually sounds interesting.
Yeah, it does.
It is. It's like it's a little bit like. It's not like a hard, like kind of like a hard vampire movie. It kind of is in the same ilk of like something like Lisa Frankenstein, or like almost like an angsty teen version of Let the Right One In.
What is it called again?
Yeah, it's only Humanist Vampire Seeking a Suicidal Person.
Jesus, that is a fucking.
That's actually that sounds like a Craigslist ad.
Yeah, but I liked it. It's got a really good soundtrack. It's shot in like all natural lighting, and it's basically she finds someone, and it's like he'll do it, but he wants like his like one like wish fulfilled like that night before like he gives over his life. And like the movie is kind of like a Let the Right One In thing, but they're teenagers instead of children. And it's
them French Canadians make some pretty interesting movies sometimes.
Yeah, it's got some good like black humor in it. It shows her right at the beginning as a little girl like doing brain tests, and like they're like she's like watching like Night of the Living Dead, like the scene where like the girl like starts stabbing her mother to death, screaming, and it's pretty funny.
Did you request this, or did it just show up?
It just showed up, but I did request it, and they were like, "It's already there, homie."
Oh,
man, I wish I could get on that.
I requested
thing, man. It fucking sucks.
You can.
No, it won't let me fucking sign in because of where I'm signing into it.
That's weird because it's like British. The server we're on is
maybe I'll try it again because remember when I had your guys' sign in passwords, it would never let me sign in. It just wouldn't do it.
Maybe yours is like linked to like, I don't know, maybe it's because of the server like that, like his password's on that, like it can't log in like on a Canadian IP or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
You might have to get your own account.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth it.
It really is. Today.
I know, because this happens to me every year. There's always a couple of movies I can never get to see because like I just can't find them. Like there's just no way for me.
I saw Red Rooms in like July because I requested it on there.
Yeah, the Red Rooms is one I want to check out.
Might be available. I know that's available in Canada. I think this one might be too.
Well, it should be. It is Canadian, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that one, so I would definitely check that one out. It's only 90 minutes too, so even if it's not your thing, it's not really like a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, I'll check it out.
Yeah, that sounds pretty interesting. Yeah, I did.
I got to start getting on 24.
I did a double feature at the Cine. I got off work and I went and watched Never Let Go and Speak No Evil back to back. And
did you go by yourself?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I did. So I watched Never Let Go and then was disappointed with that one.
That one's like already out of theaters, like where I am.
I'm like so behind on stuff, dude. It's like insane. Like I've missed everything. It's just so annoying.
I was just really disappointed.
I just did a good job of going to the theaters this year to stay.
Yeah, I've seen everything except for I think one movie that I passed on, but like everything that we've got, I've went and seen. So I've seen I don't know, 15, 16, I don't know, films this year, but yeah, anyways,
like Blink twice. That was like it.
So the Never Let Go is a new Alexandria Aja film, starring Halle Berry of all people. It's pretty fucking random, actually. I thought that was so interesting. Alexandria Aja and Halle Berry doing a movie together. It's bizarre. But I think the biggest problem with this movie, though, is it's just the script itself. Like, I mean, it's just not effective because it shows its cards way too early in the movie. I'm like sitting there going, okay, what? And then it plays out exactly. And I'm like, there was just no mystery to it anymore. I'm like, it fucking hurt the story so bad. Like the performances are pretty good in the film and the concept is there, but like you can tell that Aja did not, like he was hired to direct this movie, right? He didn't write this film. So, I mean, it's fine for what it is. It's basically like a confined horror film, basically just about this family living out in the woods kind of thing. There's a lot more to it than that, but you know, so there's like very minimal characters and stuff. So it really does focus on the mom and the kids and their survival element and stuff. But it just, I feel like it just shows
that one. Yeah, I remember that. That one was kind of cool.
Yeah, it looks.
I thought it looked cool too. I was disappointed to see it getting shit on.
Yeah, it just wasn't. It's a bad script, dude. It's poorly written. It really is. So that was really disappointing. And of course, I sat there and watched Speak No Evil with my jaw on the ground, going, "What the fuck." Like, actually, one thing in Speak No Evil that actually pissed me off the most in the film, then I don't know if other people caught this who had seen the original one. So if you've seen the original film, it's a Dutch film, or it's no, is it Dutch? No, it's where's it from? Is it Dutch?
It's one of the Nordic countries.
I think it's. I can't remember. Is it Dutch?
Right now.
Yeah, just look it up. I can't remember what kind. I think it's Dutch, or am I just tripping dicks? Anyways, but there's a part in the film where they're actually start making fun of like this Dutch character or whatever.
It's Danish.
Yeah, Danish. That's what it. Yeah, so it's a Danish film. So yeah, that's right. So in this film, there's a part in the film where there's like this annoying Danish couple, and they start ripping on them for being like annoying and shit like that. I'm like, are they just making fun of the Danish? Like it didn't seem that coincidental. Like the fact that the original film was a Danish film and they're making fun of Danish people in this movie. It's an Americanized remake. I'm like, what the fuck? That's kind of a weird thing to do, but oh my God, this fucking game. It's not good. It's not fucking good. But yeah, so that was a really disappointing fucking 3 hours that I had there. What else did I watch this
I love that Cotton Eye Joe scene though, when like James McAvoy's like freaking out in the kid.
Oh my God, dude. Fuck. Yeah,
I started dying at the end of it too. I was laughing my fucking ass off, and then everybody else in the theater. There's a lot of kids in the theater. There's like a whole like, group
Speak No Evil is a remake.
That's what we just said, man.
You're talking about the one that has the kid with the cut off tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no shit! I did not.
I never.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original was on Shudder like 2 years ago.
So
it came on Shudder like 2 years ago. I watched it for the prep.
Watching that because I had a feeling that like the Americans are going to ruin it, so I was like, I better not watch the original.
I watched another movie this week called Last Straw. It was okay. Kind of takes place in like a diner. It turns into a blood fest. Pretty cool. I didn't mind it. I saw the movie Frogman. You guys know about that one?
Tony loves that movie. Everybody else I know hates it.
It's like, honestly, I was pretty entertained by it. It's kind of goofy, but like, I don't know. There was just something about it, though. I enjoyed it. But Strange Darling was, I think I watched that one like a week or two ago or something like that. That's a good movie. Did you watch Strange Darling, Tyler?
Yeah, I saw Strange Darling like the weekend it came out. I thought it was pretty decent. I think some people like, it's a movie I probably should watch again though, because I think some people like really over exaggerate some things about that movie and like set me up for.
I didn't even know anything about it. I honestly didn't even know anything about it except for I think when we did like the pre-prep for it. Like I knew I wanted to watch it and I'd forgotten about it and I saw it come up on I think it was F Movies or whatever. I'm like, oh shit, I need to fucking watch this. So I had like no hype. Like I hadn't really heard anyone talk about it, and then as soon as I mentioned I watched it, I heard everyone talking about it. I was like, what the fuck? Like that's so random.
I think part of the problem is like, dude, like somebody told me like, oh, this is like a Quentin Tarantino and Brian De Palma made a movie together, and then I watched. I was like, dude, come on.
Well, the reason why people are putting the whole Tarantino thing is because it's told out of order, right? It's told in chapters and it's told out of order.
It's like
it's just a style of it's a style of editing. Yeah. It's just a style of editing your movie. Like
he only does that in one movie. Like that's not even like a thing that's like unique to him.
Well,
and, like, when someone says to me like it's a Tarantino movie, I think of like snappy dialogue, these like pulpy, like defined characters.
See, I don't. When people refer to shit as being like, I think of like the way it's told. So the narrative is all mixed up. That's the first thing I always think of, because people associate Pulp Fiction with like the way that story is told is like Tarantino style kind of thing, right? And like I guess on like Reservoir Dogs too, he kind of does that in that too, but and
like when someone said it was like filmed like a De Palma movie, I was like, no, it wasn't. Just because there's diopter shot in it doesn't mean it's a fucking.
No, I wouldn't say it's quite De Palma. No, but I mean, I think the way they revealed the reveal in the movie was cool.
I thought that was really cool. And like the way like they kind of did the shift with it. There's a lot I could like. I'm not saying it's a good movie. I'm not like shitting on this.
It's actually one of my favorites of the year. I really enjoyed Strange Darling. I thought it was. I think it's also because like I said though, I didn't really know a whole ton going into it. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So
and even it's like a movie I don't end up like really like loving. Like this movie is definitely a movie that does like different like subversive things and like tries something new. It's nowhere near a generic movie, and I'd much rather watch a movie like that than like your average Blumhouse movie.
Yeah. What the fuck? I don't even. Man, this movie must not have been that good. I watched Hellhole. I think that was on Shudder. I didn't like that really that much. And then I watched The Demon Disorder. I think that one just came onto Shudder too. It's an Australian film. Didn't like it.
That one. I have a list over here.
It's another Shudder's been adding some films. They just added Oddity too, so that's kind of cool. But
yeah, I'm feeling pretty optimistic about this year. I actually have like maybe like a good portion of movies I'd be happy to like put in my top 10 for the year, and like some other ones I wouldn't hate either. And there's a lot like I still haven't seen or coming out. I'm really optimistic about.
Yeah,
so I think this year is going to be
there's still.
I think this year's. Oh, I think this year's going to still be at least competitive as opposed to last year, where like I had to like scramble for 10
Oh
movies.
My God. Yeah, I feel like it's shaping up pretty good. Like there's definitely some movies that I've seen this year most likely going to be in my top 10, but there's still so much more to come. Like I was kind of goofing off on the internet there today. And I was like, I haven't been to Bloody Disgusting in a while. So I went to the website, and the first article was like 31 new horror movies releasing in October. I'm like, holy fuck, man. Like the movies that are coming out is just crazy right now. Like there's so many titles. And
I still haven't seen The Coffee Table, The Oddity. I haven't seen Oddity.
I actually bought The Coffee Table. Yeah, that one's good, man. That one's really fucking.
Those are pretty much movies I've only heard good things about.
It's so fucking depressing. Like that movie, dude, it fucks with you so bad, man.
There's some weird folk horror movie too, like Voldork or something that's supposed to be really good, and there's some Indian like folk movie that's supposed to be like awesome too, but it's like 2.5 hours long.
Oh yeah, that was the first thing that I saw in here. The 31 films releasing. The first movie list on here was Crack-Coon. Isn't Carly? Isn't Carly in that movie?
Dude, what if Carly makes it? Yeah, what if Carly makes the top 10?
Yeah, so October 1st, Crack-Coon with our one and only Carly's in that movie. So that's like coming to Screenbox.
That would be surreal.
Yeah, there's so
I'd be so hyped if something I was in came to Screenbox. That's awesome.
Yeah, The Curse of the Necklace. Like, there's so many fucking movies. House of Spoils. Man, that's a Blumhouse movie. Fuck, man. Coming out on the 3rd, which is my birthday. Hold Your Breath, October 3rd, and that's Hulu. House of Spoils is Prime Video. There's just so many outlets now, man. It's crazy. Salem's Lot. It's so. I forgot that this was coming out. So this is another adaptation, right?
Have you guys heard about Uzumaki?
No.
So Uzumaki, it's like, I don't know if you've seen the Japanese movie Spiral from like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
That's adapted from a manga. They've been working on this for 4 years. They're like, there's a little mini series of Uzumaki that debuted yesterday on HBO Max. It's only the first episode. It's like 24 minutes long, but it's like very, very good. And it'll eventually just be like a 90-minute movie. So that's another one too, that like a whole different flavor, but it does the thing with animation where it takes the opportunity to actually do stuff that you wouldn't be able to do live action.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of HBO Max, like Salem's Lot's coming out. I forgot that they're readaptating that.
I love that story. Yeah. They haven't. I'm not that optimistic on it because, like, I guess like they've had it done for a while and they just like didn't know how to release it, and this is
it's just going to Max. It's crazy.
Yeah, so that's probably not the best indicator, but I like that. So that's probably my favorite King book, or at least one of them that I've read. And I'm always
the book is awesome. The book is awesome. Yeah, The Forest Hills.
That was the first one I read, I think.
Select theaters. The Forest Hills. I guess that would be Shelley Duvall's last movie. Is this another fucking Blum? This looks like a Spin the Bottle. It just sounds like it's fucking Blumhouse, but I don't think it is. Oh, it's got Justin Long in it. Fuck, that guy pops up in everything, man. Monster Summer. Right. Fuck, there's so many movies, dude. It's just crazy. That one's getting a theatrical release, Monster Summer. It's with the kid from the Black Phone. Little Bits is another fucking theatrical. Holy fuck. So many theatricals this year, man. So VHS Beyond is coming out like October 4th, so this week.
Oh, cool.
What's the premise of this? Like, is it, because the last few have been set in like the 80s and 90s and stuff. What years? It doesn't say anything on this one. JP, do you know anything about the new VHS Beyond movie? Where the fuck is this Crackmaster?
I noticed he hasn't said anything in that.
Yeah,
he said something in chat.
Nope.
And he's not muted. He fell asleep.
JP. Oh, fuck. Okay. Anyways, VHS Beyond. Yeah, this is the one that I wanted to talk about because I didn't actually know this was getting a legit sequel, and that's The Platform 2, which is coming to Netflix. I love The Platform.
Saw that recently when I was getting one. Yeah, it was pretty high in that year it came out.
It made my top 10 that year. I love that premise, dude. Like the commentary.
I think it might have been my number one that year.
Fuck, man, the commentary.
I had a more literal interpretation of the ending too. That a lot of people did it, and they were like, a lot of people I've shared that with, and been like, "That's fucking dark, dude."
Yeah, it's just a cool movie, man. I hope the sequel doesn't disappoint.
Yeah.
Another Netflix movie.
I did like that movie a lot.
It's What's Inside.
That's another movie too that like has like no release other than on Netflix, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a few companies out there that are releasing some of the Netflix, like they're obviously bootlegs, right? But like they look like they're fucking, store-bought Blu-rays and
shit. The only company I've seen like put a legit release of a Netflix movie is Criterion.
Yeah, and that was for... Oh, no, they did a couple of them.
There's Roma, Mudbound, The Irishman. There's a few of them. There's like 6, I think.
They did the Adam Sandler movie too, right?
No, I don't think so.
Did
they did Uncut Gems, but that wasn't a Netflix movie.
Uncut Gems was Netflix, wasn't it?
No, that was an A24 movie.
Uncut Gems was A24?
Yep, it was the Safdie brothers.
Really? I could have sworn it was. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, man. Frankie Frico, man, from Stephen Konstanski. It's a new movie, so that's gonna be fucking awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's basically like a throwback to like, it says it's like a throwback to like 90s like puppet horror films and shit. So it's gonna be like all
nice.
Frankie Frico. Director.
That was at Fantasia, Tyler.
Oh, nice.
I don't think I had access to it.
What was the consensus on it?
I think it got good reviews.
Is back.
You know what I did see though? That'll probably. I predict it'll be a future Vincent that we do, or at least somebody does. Is Black Eyed Susan? I did see that for Vantage, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, that's their next VSP, I think.
You could even see, like in the screener I got, it had like a little Vinegar Syndrome like logo in the corner. But it's the guy that made like the Shattered Dead's new movie. It was pretty interesting. It's like it really asked like a philosophically like really fucked up question that like it'll kind of like stick to you. It'll probably honestly I could see it making like some top 10. It's pretty fucked.
Man, this movie sounds fucking awesome. It says, after calling a late night party hotline that promises out of this world fun, uptight yuppie Connor must battle the pint-sized forces of evil unleashed through his phone line, led by a maniacal rock and roll goblin.
What movie?
Oh, they got the whole gang bet. They got the whole gang bet together this week. Connor Sweeney's in this, Adam Brooks, Matt Kennedy, even Mayor Sweeney.
Well, it's all Astron 6 again. Yeah.
Yeah, what's her name? That's that Sleazy Mary, Meredith Sweeney, Sleazy Mary from from Father's Day. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they always do all their shit together, right? So, but yeah, even like the little Frankie Frico looks fucking awesome. It's totally cool, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's Connor Sweeney right on the poster. Yeah, all their posters look awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just a still for the movie on the website here. Man, there's so many fucking movies, dude. This is ridiculous. This is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys watch any? I'm glad that
Good, Tyler.
92ers? No, I was just going to say, I'm glad this year is like a big uptick from last year.
Yeah, it seems like it just from what I'm hearing. But did you guys watch any 59 or 92s?
I watched Dead Alive.
No, I've only watched
the heavy hitters early, huh?
Yeah, because I figured like this is gonna be something I'm gonna rewatch anyway, so I just threw it on.
Oh yeah, I guess if you plan on rewatching stuff, doing it early would be better because then you have more time in between.
I do that sometimes.
I don't. Yeah, and the thing about this year too is like I knew I had like some movies that were like top of the chart like last with the last show, or so like I don't think there's anything like we talked about that's like a runaway in this year. So it also was like I thought it would be good to like set the pace with like one of the perceived like better movies of the year. I already watched Chronos too and Body Hammer. I liked both of those a lot.
Yeah, I'm at 3 watches for 92 and I think 4 for 59.
Yeah, I've only still watched the 2 for 59.
I don't have one.
I've got another one coming up on my 31 days I'll be watching. I've watched 3 for 92.
I'm definitely going to watch
talking at the exact same time.
I know.
No, it's like literally every time I talk, he starts talking. Yeah, 92. I've watched 3. I logged Dr. Mordred because I just watched that before the show. So, but I did one for 31 days and of course Maniac Cop 3. So
yeah,
that's my big 3.
I'm at 7 now.
Oh, so I'm at 4 for 92 then. Yeah, 4. Seed People, Homewrecker, Munchie, which isn't a horror film, and Maniac Cop 3.
Oh, Munchie's a sequel to Munchies, right?
Not really.
Yeah, I think it's like a name. I watched Munchie like I think I rewatched it last year. I can't even fucking remember. I just remember being.
It's like a kids movie, dude.
Yeah, it's
the weirdest thing. It's like it feels like a Disney Channel original movie for real.
Yeah, I remember it being really goofy, like super fucking goofy.
I liked it, but it's not a horror movie. But no. But it was listed, so I watched it.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I need to get up on that 59. I've just been kind of putting it off because like the movies are so easy to watch. Like they're short and kind of sweet and shit. So
yeah,
I mean, but yeah,
I definitely plan on watching.
Plan on watching what?
A couple during Halloween season, like Hounds of Baskerville, The Tingler, House on Haunted Hill, just like those like really Halloween feeling movies.
You know, I just rewatched The Tingler. I think last year. Actually,
I've never seen it. Those are just like I've seen House on Haunted Hill, but the other ones are kind of things I just identified that like might be like top movies for the year.
Mm-hmm.
I ran into my first movie I could not find for 92.
Which one?
It's called Centerfolds from Hell.
Don't know that.
I got Wicked City on MB.
Yeah, I tried to get this one, but I literally can't find it anywhere. So I don't know if I'll be able to watch that one, but it just can't. I was doing some randomizing for a couple watches and it came up and I just cannot find it.
11 people have seen this movie.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's not very good, but it sounds. This guy said this is a Christmas Carol, but told in softcore porn. So nice. It might be. Maybe it's a softcore title. I don't know.
I need to pick up that. My Grandfather is a Vampire. I know Severn just released that. It was like on the Severn Kids line. That's from 92.
Oh yeah.
I'll grab that at Wasteland because I actually seen that movie before. I remember renting it back in the day. It's actually pretty fun kids movie. That's like not really a kids movie, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna get drunk and buy random shit at Wasteland. I can't wait.
Yeah,
that's
next week, dude.
Man, I just took out 1,200 American. It cost me, actually the dollar was up, so it only cost me like 1,600 Canadian or something like that for 1,200 American. Yeah, so.
Yeah. I have a small list of like things I'm looking for, but I definitely want to get some alcohol and be like, this looks like a cool fucking movie.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, you guys can buy me some shit for my birthday too. Stop being fucking cheap. I'm just bugging you guys. You don't have to buy me nothing.
Oh shit. What? Anything else?
No. I was gonna slowly go through that list, but there's just way too many fucking movies to go through on here. I mean, Smile 2 is coming to theater. There's so many fucking movies in October. It's ridiculous, man.
Joker comes out this week.
This one is interesting, man. Woman of the Hour. So they did an adaptation of or not an adaptation. I guess they're telling the story of that famous fucking thing that happened on the dating game back in the 70s. You guys ever know about that story?
Yeah, the killer
that actually appeared on that show. Well, they made a movie of that. So it's coming to Netflix, I guess, October 18th. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, I know that fucking story. That's pretty cool. So it's called Woman of the Hour. And like the still just looks like Late Night with the Devil. It totally looks like Late Night with the Devil. It's crazy. But it's got the same 70s aesthetic to it. But yeah, like fuck, dude. Like I think we're hitting that home stretch of movies in 2024 here where it's just going to be like you can't keep up. It's too many.
Yeah.
I see Netflix is getting quite a few.
I don't stress myself out in these and like with like trying to like get a crazy high number because like there's just so much stuff that comes out.
No,
like a fire hose that like you can't really like line up with any other person. It's just going to be completely
75
random.
is like my perfect number for the current year. I always do
between like
75.
I did 60 last year and I think I'm definitely going to do more, but like also last year I was at 17 in November. I didn't know I was like going to be like, I was planning ahead. Like I was going to be a part of that show.
I was always batshit with the year preps, like 18, 19, 20, 21 and stuff. Like I was watching like 100, like probably between 100 and 140 like movies from those specific years. I'm like not doing that anymore because I was watching a lot of garbage too and stuff like that. So I pick and choose what I'm watching, but it does seem like there's quite a few movies that are coming out in the next few weeks that look interesting. So that's going to become a problem. But yeah, it looks like Netflix has released nothing this year. They've had no movies.
The Rosemary's Baby prequel came out, I think, right?
Oh, is that the Apartment 7A or whatever?
Yeah.
I heard that movie was terrible.
Really?
Yeah, I just saw one person that was like one line. They were like, "That movie fucking sucked."
I mean, I don't have faith in it, but
yeah. But
I feel like it's going to be through a completely modern lens, and it's going to be way harder around religion, and it's just going to be cringe.
I just feel like Netflix has done nothing this year, and then all of a sudden, like there's a bunch coming out this month. But I guess they picked a good month to have some releases, anyways. But yeah, there's a bunch of theatricals. I'm just wondering if we'll get them. We'll probably get Smile 2 because we got the first one.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that one.
Terrifier 3 is coming up. Some more Shudder releases, Hulu. Fuck, it's just everywhere, man. It's crazy. But some of these actually, there's a new Hellboy movie.
I didn't know that.
VOD. It's straight VOD.
I think there's a new Constantine coming out.
Man, I really want to see Frankie Frico, man. The movie is it looks so much fun. Yeah, but 2024 prep, man, I think it's going to start getting fucking real. But I've been keeping up as best I can. I do prep all year. Like I pepper in movies all year. Like I never have to like crunch. Unlike JP, who
this is the best year
force feeds himself like 300 movies in a fucking week.
Well, I was kind of waiting for the show to come back before I started prepping because like I do, like I was saying this earlier, like I make it a point to like try to watch like at least like one movie from the current year or one movie from our prep year, so I have something to mention when we go to this segment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, 92, like we're not going to be like 92 is probably going to be the first show back.
Probably.
So like we have I'm
going to go for 100 since we have so much time. Yeah. I think I'm just going to really enjoy 92 because I already noticed like right away, like this is like really reminding me of like just renting movies at Blockbuster and watching like late night movies on TV.
Oh yeah, this is straight wheelhouse for me, man. Like 92, I was 12 years old, and like you'd walk in a movie store and it was like, just looking at the list of films, I'm like, oh my god, I remember renting like all these. But I fortunately have.
Dead Alive was like a movie I rented over and over at Blockbuster because it had like such a standout cover. Uncle Sam was another one. I love that like lenticular cover it had. I would rent it all the time.
Yeah, I got a pretty good fucking collection of them.
My mom like let me do this when I was like 6.
Like I have I think 70 movie. I own at least 70 that I've found so far. There might be others that I own, but that's actually
I only own like 20. But there's a lot I'm like looking forward to.
It's a very sequel heavy year. Just like remember when we did 91?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Thing. Tons of fucking sequels,
I was looking at that. There's there's this. Well, I've never actually seen the original Stepfather, so it's kind of cool. Now I have an opportunity to just like watch the whole trilogy.
I just came out on 4K. Actually, I actually never upgraded because Show Factory put out the Blu-ray before they started up their Scream Factory line.
And like I that was something I always like was gonna buy. Like was always like, oh, I'll buy that eventually. It was like this was like years and years ago, and
I know I just never upgraded my DVD. It was so random.
Yeah, and then it just went out of print, and I was like, nah.
Yeah, I would definitely pick up that 4K. It's just really fucking expensive here. It's like crazy expensive. So I'm like, no, maybe you can find a better price than that. But yeah, like the sequels from 92 is crazy. Like we just watched Maniac Cop 3. There's Alien 3, Pet Sematary 2, Stepfather 3, Children of the Corn 2, Waxwork 2, Critters 4, Amityville 92, House 4, The Unnameable 2, which is pretty cool. Tetsuo 2, Bride Killer Nerd. Violent Shit 2, Erotic Ghost Story 3, which is actually just coming to Scream Factory is actually putting that out in one of their Cat 3 box sets. Evil Dead Trap 2, which we actually just reviewed. So we literally just reviewed that. Prom Night 4, Evil Dead Trap.
Prom Night 4 is 93.
That was 91. Like 2 years ago. At least.
IMDb.
Well, I mean, the point is we actually did that one. So Men Behind the Sun 2. Killer Tomatoes Eat France. God. I think that's the fourth one.
Good. Now I can finally. Now I have a reason to watch Men Behind the Sun. Just torch my brain some more. Great.
But yeah, it's a lot of sequels, man. Ugh. Yeah. And we did Tetsuo too. Mm-hmm. I want to say recently, but it was probably like 5 years ago.
Jeremy was.
That was like my biggest blind spot for the. Yeah. That was my biggest blind spot for the year. So I watched that one like right away.
Tetsuo 2 is a blind spot.
Yeah, people love that. People love the Tetsuo movies.
Get out of here!
I swear, even
that's not that movie is not the Tetsuo. Yeah, Tetsuo 2 isn't that popular.
They like both. Yeah, they both like them. They all like that movie too. They like.
I would never consider if I met someone they said they never saw Tetsuo 2. I'd never be like, damn, that's a blind spot.
I never really thought of that as
like. Kind of in the other, like in like the kind of like the art house like ish circles. I mean, like the Tetsu movies are really popular. Like everybody seems to really like those, especially both the first one and the second one.
Yeah, they're unique, man. I think they're pretty cool. I mean, you kind of have to be in the mood to watch those, though. Like, I feel like they're definitely mood pieces. Like, if you wanted to watch something,
it's like
that wasn't going to hurt your brain,
something like that.
Yeah, like it's not like something I'm throwing on.
I know, like Tetsuo.
Yeah. Yeah, I
like Candyman would be a blind spot.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing if you haven't seen Candyman, and you're like a horror fan at this point.
Yeah, there's definitely a few from this film. I feel like Kronos would be a blind spot too if you've never seen that.
Yeah, I've never seen Kronos.
Yeah, it's a pretty.
I went up on Kronos a little bit actually. Kronos was really good.
There's a good bit.
I watched that. That was my first watch.
There's a few popular movies I've never seen. Like I haven't seen Dracula all the way through.
Like the Bram Stoker's that's a good movie actually. It's one of the better later adaptations of the story.
I've never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or if I did, I was really young.
I used to actually have the VHS of that, and I was actually thinking when I was putting my list together, I was like, "What the fuck ever happened to my tape?" I have no idea. It's weird. So
yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Like I don't even have a DVD, and apparently the Blu-ray is like long out of print. It's like, oh shit. So that's one I actually don't even
know. I'm chilling.
Yeah, I just think it's funny that Frankenstein 2000s for 92, but we watched it for 91.
I think Whisper in the Dark it was also listed as 91.
Yeah, I've got that listed on my. Yeah, Scream Factory just put out that actually. But yeah. Anyways, you guys want to get into these Maniac Cop movies or what?
Yep.
All right. Well.
All right.
I guess that's going to conclude the intro. I don't know how long we fucking been going for, but I feel like that was long ass intro, man.
It was about $1.15.
Was it really? Fuck, that's crazy. I didn't think we were going to have really anything to talk about until we brought up the top 100 fucking slashers, and that just went on rabbit hole. All right, so that's going to conclude the intro. We'll be back here in a minute with the Maniac Cop trilogy. Yeah.
Yo, who this?
Yo, Moodz, it's your boy, the ill-mannered funky child, calling you to remind you that the featured reviews on this episode contain spoilers.
Aw, yeah, man, that's right, brother. Thanks for the heads up, playa. Now go back to being an unproductive asshole.
Fuck you. I tell your listeners to stop being so dumb, silly, sensitive.
Yeah.
And now, our feature presentation.
Alrighty, so get into the featured reviews here on episode 268. We are going to take it back to 1988 with the first film in a trilogy, all directed by William Lustig, and that is a film called Maniac Cop. Have you guys seen this one before?
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen it many times. I've even seen it in a drive-in.
Right. I actually knew the answer for you, but I was wondering about Tyler. So, but I've
seen this before.
Have you seen all of them?
No, just the first one. I bought the first one off from Synapse like years ago when their Blu-rays were still cheap, and had that chilling.
Yeah, I actually have the first one signed by William Lustig and Tom Atkins. When I met Tom Atkins back in 2014 at Wasteland, that was supposed to be like the Maniac Cop reunion.
Yep.
But Robert Zarwood, he was actually quite sick at the time. He wasn't there. So I didn't get to meet him. And I think he ended up passing away the year after or something like that, maybe? Like shortly after that, I think.
Yeah.
Like shortly after anyways. But yeah, so that was...
He died not that long ago.
Right. And yeah, Lustig wasn't there. I think he was originally supposed to be, but I don't know, he canceled it or whatever. But I got to meet Tom Atkins. That was the first time I met him, and he was pretty cool. He just really wanted to talk about the film. He actually really likes it, which is kind of interesting too, because Bruce Campbell doesn't actually like these movies. So.
No, he doesn't like Maniac Cop 2.
Yeah, I actually saw. I think it might even probably be in the factoids on here and stuff like that. But he only took this movie because I guess he just needed a job. But yeah, no, he really dislikes.
Well, he's not in it very much,
too.
so I assumed he was kind of. Yeah, I assumed he was just for a paycheck.
It's funny, like I was reading on IMDb about like how people bring up Maniac Cop 2 to Bruce Campbell, and he gets all defensive about it because he fucking doesn't want to talk about it. He just wants the movie.
Well, he also was going through like a divorce or something.
Yeah,
that. So it's like sore memories.
That's exactly why he doesn't like to talk about it and stuff. But but people at cons will bring it up purposely just to get him going, because I guess Campbell will get like pissed off and start like ripping on the people that ask him about Maniac Cop 2. So they just get him going. I'm like, that's kind of fucking.
You have to know, like you have to know that someone is trolling when they do that too. Considering all the movies Bruce has been in, and like you're gonna pick Maniac Cop 2 that he's barely in.
Yeah, he's literally in the movie just to die, right?
Yeah,
funny, actually. Like he's only
So how good is this movie?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So this is a trilogy that has continuity and continuity. Fucking Jeremy. Continuity. So we're definitely gonna have to have spoilers in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
I think it's fair game spoiling, 30-something-year-old.
Yeah, but these movies,
as long as you put that little warning in there, I don't care when.
I always do. I
just don't. My thing is like I just don't like when people spoil without saying they're going to be doing a spoiler review.
No, if I put that intro in there, then that we're probably having either spoilers or minor spoilers. But like generally when we're doing franchises or trilogies, especially if they have continuity, then you have to talk about that shit, right? You can't talk about the end of the movie, or you can't talk about the next beginning of a movie if you can't talk about the end of it, right?
Yeah.
Especially with these ones,
necessarily like obscure movies either.
No, these are old enough. I mean, most people have probably seen these that are listening to this podcast anyways.
So the average person, they're probably like not the most known movies, but these are like, I would say like level 2 horror movies.
Yeah. I'd say so.
Okay, yeah. So Maniac Cop from 1988. I mean, it's got a really amazing cast. And I mean, we got Tom Atkins, who plays a detective in the film. We got Bruce Campbell, plays a police officer. We got Richard Roundtree, who's fucking Shaft, who plays the commissioner.
Hell yeah.
In the film. It's just pretty cool to see him in it. And there's a bunch of notable people, like Robert Zarr obviously plays the Maniac Cop himself, Matt Cordell. You got William Smith, who plays Captain Ripley, who I always like that guy, man. He's got like that look and voice to him that he's gnarly. He's fucking gnarly, man. He shows up in a lot of shit. But yeah, among people, I think there's some other people in this one too. But yeah, a quick little synopsis on Maniac Cop. A killer dressed in a police uniform begins murdering innocent people on the streets of New York. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's close enough, I guess. There's a killer in a police uniform for sure. So where do you guys want to start with this one?
I mean, I guess from the top.
I mean, this is one of those movies that I feel like it's just this whole trilogy. In fact, is like, I think it's all written by Larry Cohen, all directed by William Lustig, and like
the third one's directed by Alan Smithy.
Shut up!
I'm serious. It says so in the credits.
No, I know. William Lustig has disowned the movie. He's disowned the movie.
It's so funny that like Maniac Cop 3 is an Alan Smithy movie.
Yeah, William Lustig really fucking does not like it. But I mean, that movie was also, I think it was plagued with a bunch of production issues, and the script got changed and stuff like that. Like they did a bunch of changes to it, and just the whole movie is just a fucking disaster in William Lustig's eyes. So, you know, taking your name off it, it's just what happens. But anyways, yeah, so the combination of Larry Cohen and William Lustig, if you're familiar with Larry Cohen, who's, you know, a very prolific writer, he's written tons of movies, obviously directed a ton of stuff himself. And I consider Larry Cohen to be a pretty decent writer, where this trilogy, it's got to be like 3 of the worst written movies. Like there's so many problems in the narratives in these films. Like this movie itself does not know what the fuck it wants to be, because the Maniac Cop killer is projected as like a supernatural, like undead killer. Like obvious, like certain scenes in this film where, like, you know, he's getting full clips emptied into his guts and he's still coming at you, like, you know, kind of thing, right? So you're like, well, this guy's obviously like undead and stuff. And like in the narrative in this film, so basically it's about this cop named Matt Cordell, who was like a hero cop, and like he was basically wronged by the system. And
was he really a hero cop though?
Well, that they actually
don't they kind of allude that he like was like a shoot, ask questions later type of guy?
Yeah, but I mean, for those hard neck, rough cops and stuff like that, a lot of those cops respected that type of style. But like, I mean, he was. Apparently, they kind of mentioned that he was decorated.
Yeah, I think they do. Like in the follow up film, like I feel like they changed their mind on him a little bit and made him more like he was busting up the corruptness of the police department. Right. But I think in this first one, like, I don't think he's really supposed to have been like a good cop necessarily.
Well,
an effective cop, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they do allude to the fact that like he was decorated and stuff like that, and the system fucked him over. He basically went down for some shit that they framed him. They basically framed him. Anyways, he goes to jail, and he doesn't want to be isolated. So he basically decides himself that he wants to be put into general population, where everybody knows that as a cop, going into general population is not a good fucking idea, because you're with the same people that you put away. So what's going to happen? The criminals are going to fucking kill you. And essentially that's what happens in the movie. He gets attacked in jail and they stab him up, they slice him up and shit like that. And they apparently kill him. And so we're under the impression that he's dead. And this is what I talk about, like the messy ass script in this movie, because we learn later in the movie where they have this, you know, they go and Tom Atkins' character is talking with this doctor and stuff like that. And it's revealed that he actually didn't die.
Yeah,
they removed his body from basically the morgue in the at the jail and stuff like that, but he was actually still breathing, and they released him to this lady, this cop lady, whatever, blah blah blah. And I'm like, what? Okay, fine. So they wrote him as like he was dead and he died off and stuff like that, but he actually was released out into the world and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, but then he's completely like inhuman. This guy has like inhuman strength. He can take full clips. So he's like alive in the narrative, but acting like a supernatural walking fucking zombie. Like, it's so confusing in this film. And like, obviously, you know, even in the way this movie ends and the way the next one starts, and like everything that happens with the Cordell characters, like obviously in the third one, we get shown that, you know, there's some voodoo. It's like how he gets resurrected by voodoo and stuff like that. But like, what the fuck are they trying to accomplish in the first film? Like, why are they beating around the bush with this Cordell character? Like, he clearly is inhuman. Like, he's clearly Walking Dead, right?
I can't remember. Does he get shot and stuff in the first one?
Yes, he does. There's a scene in the film.
Yeah, because there's a scene. Yeah, there's a scene where he gets like lit up. And you're kind of like, all right.
So this
Does
is
he
like
have a bulletproof vest on? Maybe
no.
That's what I thought. No, because that's the thing I thought. She even says too. She's like, no, he wasn't wearing a bulletproof vest. And she even talks about like when like the one female cop who was doing the undercover prostitute work. She's the one that unloads the clip at point blank range into his guts. And this is before we get the reveal that he was alive. So we're like, oh, well, this guy's obviously inhuman because he just took literally an entire clip to the guts and didn't even flinch. So, and she talks about like how he's wearing a bulletproof vest too. I think she even says like, I shot him even in the head. And like, I was
he gets shot in the shoulder. Like, it just nothing is affecting him. Right. So, but then they reveal after later that like, you know, he didn't actually die and he got released out into the world. And so basically Maniac Cop is like getting
they don't
revenge.
really explain why he's like supernatural-esque.
Well, they don't explain anything in this trilogy with the character. Like, even in the third film is honestly the worst written movie too, because like we'll get to that anyways. But yeah, this movie it's just confusing itself, because if they hadn't put that part in the film with the doctor talking about like how he was still breathing and they released him out into the world and stuff like that, it would have been fine. We would just be under the impression that he was supernatural, that he came back to, you know, for revenge, because essentially that's what he's doing in this first film. He wants revenge against the system. Like, that's why he ends up going after the police commissioner and stuff like that, and killing off all these dirty people that did him wrong, that did him dirty and shit. That's kind of the point of the movie. It's really a revenge film against the system. But again,
he's also just like, he's almost like saying fuck you to the world too.
Yeah, because the script, it's
killing just random people as well.
And that's what I don't like about this movie. Like, rewatching this, I was like, so the movie starts out where
I like that about it.
No, I know, but like I said, it just doesn't really know what it wants to be. Like, is he focused on, you know, cleaning up the corrupt system, you know, getting revenge on these people that harmed him? But why would you go after innocent people and kill them? Like, you know,
I think it's like to prove the point that like that. What, like, you guys basically unleashed this, you know what I mean? So now you have this even bigger problem to fix.
But like, when you watch the movie at first, because like he's killing off like these innocent people, and then you kind of get more to the story about like how he was wronged, and then it goes into this other territory, and you're like, okay, well, that makes sense. But it just seems like a really awkward mismatch, because you have to interpret that like how you did, right? It's like a big fuck you, like, you unleash this to the world kind of thing. I'm going to go and blow up. I'm going to blow the shit out of everything, you know, kind of thing. So,
yeah, well, I mean, definitely in the first two movies specifically, like, there is a core narrative about like corruption in the police department. And I think it's not like a stretch to see the movie in that way, in terms of like what I said about, like Cordell's character, because I feel like it's like the natural assumption of what is happening.
Yeah, like, well, the first two movies basically explored the same thing with the corruption, because they even get right into it in the second film too, right? Because by the second film, the detective actually kind of proves that, like, he basically kind of proves that like Cordell was totally done wrong by the system and stuff like that. But the second film is like, it's such a weird narrative, like with the serial killer angle and stuff like that. Like,
I love that part about it.
It's just
we'll get to that.
Yeah, it's so random that they incorporated that into the narrative. It's just so bizarre to me. But yeah. Anyways, I mean, you know, this movie's, like I said, it's a little bit confusing with the actual Cordell character. Is he alive? Is he fucking dead? I just perceive him as to be dead, and it's just a bunch of bullshit, because like, I mean,
well, definitely, I mean, you have to assume that something happened, because here's the thing. They said that he was brain dead, right?
Yeah.
Like, he was barely alive and he was brain dead. Well, clearly he's not brain dead.
No, he's clearly not.
So like maybe who knows like what the fuck Sally did or whoever, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like it's unexplained. But I don't think you're supposed to, like, I can't imagine they expected people to think like, oh, he's just a regular guy.
Yeah. Well, like I said, though, because they give you the impression that he's like The Walking Dead right off the bat. And then you kind of have that impression through the whole, for like basically half the film, until you get that weird reveal of like, no, he was actually breathing. I'm like, what? I'm like, why would you fucking even do that? Because we're already convinced this dude's inhuman. I agree.
Like, why would you do that? It's kind of the same thing where it's like, I'm not going to think too hard into like, is he alive or is he dead? He's this unkillable thing, whatever. It's like the same, like, I don't want to be that guy that like bangs on it, you know what I mean? For that.
No, it's
like, I don't question Michael Myers getting shot 6 times and falling off a ledge, you know?
But we know but we know there's a supernatural element to Mike Myers too, right? Like he's
exactly. That's why like it's something like I'll just roll. But sure, he's like
these are definitely some Dave Z problems.
But it's okay. I fucking knew you were gonna say that too. But like the reason why
I'm pretty sure like he has the same issues with the movie.
No, but the reason why I have a problem, the reason why I have a problem with the way the way they did this film is because they give you that other part where they talk about how he was still breathing and shit. I'm like, they didn't have to do that.
That is fair.
You know what I'm saying?
They didn't have to do that, but they decided to.
It seems so irrelevant and it seems so confusing to this character that would be perfectly fine as a walking inhuman revenge machine. Well, like that's all we need to know.
Did that was to be able to tie the Sally character to it. You know what I mean? Because like, how would she have got him? You know what I mean? Like, would we have had a scene where she like dug him up or like, you know? I think the purpose of that scene where you say that he was like pretty much dead was for it to make sense that she would be able to take his body. Because the guy's like, hey, he's brain dead. I mean, what the hell's the difference if this girl wants him?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's confusing, too, because at first I thought that he was released to his mom, who was a cop.
No, right? It was like that file keeper girl.
Yeah, I know. But like at first I thought like when I remember watching this movie years ago thinking, was that his mom that released him? Because they have that, you know, that emotional scene, right, where she confronts him and says, hey, like you have a mission here. You're basically supposed to be, you know, cleaning up the system, but you're out there killing random people and stuff. Like she actually says this to him in the film. Like she's not very happy with him because he's killing random innocent people where he's supposed to be doing basically her bidding too. Like she's obviously fucking corrupt herself a little bit, but like, like he's there to clean up the system and stuff. And she has this talk with him and shit, but it seems very mother-son-ish, doesn't it? It's weird. It's like this weird dynamic between these characters that aren't even related. It's really trippy, but yeah.
How do you feel about like the way that they think it's Bruce Campbell?
So, again, thank you for bringing this up because I have this written down too. And I said the other part of the sloppy part of the narrative is just how his wife is so convinced that he might be the killer right off the bat. But it turns out like
he's just cheating on her.
Yeah, he's just fucking cheating on her. Like,
but when you think about it, it kind of makes sense though, because a killer and a cheater would be like having the same like rituals, right? Because you're hiding something,
right?
Like you would be like working weird hours, or you would be like away, you know, taking off like in the middle of the night and shit.
I just think it's done. I just think it's done so sloppy though, because like we get introduced to Bruce Campbell and he's getting dressed and stuff, and his wife is already 100% hellbent on the fact that like something is up, like he might be the killer. But it seems like she's already convinced herself that he is, and it's just like it jumps right into this. Like there's no kind of build up to it. Like it just seems that like it happens so quick. But as a human, are you really thinking that about your spouse? Like, are you really going down that road? Like, how could you really truly believe that you're the one that you love is doing this shit? Like, that's how it's perceived, right? And of course she falls
because he's acting weird.
Yeah, but I mean, just because you're acting weird, but he's also a cop that's working. He may
and the killer's a cop, so you know that narrows it down to like what, like fucking 20 people in the city.
True. Well, it's a killer dressed up as a cop. It might not actually be a cop. That's
but everybody's thinking that it's a cop.
Right. So
like,
but it's crazy, like how. like the part in the film where the cop clerk calls up her or Bruce Campbell's wife, right? Like, you know, he's the killer. Like, she's like totally setting it up and shit like that. I just think it's sloppy. It's just so fucking sloppy to me, man. It's almost
hate Maniac Cop.
No, I really don't. I just think the writing in the film is just a little bit sloppy and actually kind of comical because like she literally phones up the wife and says, "Oh yeah, like he's doing the killing." Like she's just like, it's totally setting this thing up, right? But I mean, I get why she was doing what she was doing, right? It's a total setup type of thing, right? It makes sense, but it just seems kind of corny a little bit that she'd call up and do that and stuff like it could have been done a little bit better. But anyways, so shortly after she busts Bruce Campbell for cheating on her, it's kind of brutal. Like he's actually literally in bed with another cop. Yeah. He becomes, well, she ends up getting murdered right after the fact. And of course,
the guy who tells him that does not have like very fucking soft touch with things. He's like, your wife's throat's slit.
Yeah, that was.
Dude, what the fuck?
Isn't it William Smith's character who does that? Like Captain Ripley?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got that rugged fucking voice. He's like, yeah, she was slit from ear to ear.
It's like, dude, okay. Like,
well, that's like in the third movie too with the doctor character when he just keeps talking about like how you should just throw her in the garden as a garden gnome and stuff like that because she's all brain dead and shit. Like that cop or that doctor was a dick. And like he's just so fucking heartless, man. But yeah, so anyways, Bruce Campbell's wife ends up getting murdered right after she catches them cheating. And of course, he becomes the prime suspect and because he's a cop and his wife's dead and stuff like that. And you know, we get a bunch more killings and stuff like that. And it's basically up to Bruce Campbell and the girl that he's cheating with, who's another police officer, to unravel this mystery of like, who the fuck is doing all this shit? Because they will obviously want to clear the name and stuff like that. But you know, like getting into the end of the movie too, like going back to the whole supernatural thing where I totally just throw that scene out the window. I try to forget that they claim that he was still alive and shit. I'm like, this is bullshit. But like the scene where he takes the boat mast like through the chest and shit, and then like is still alive. And then I gotta say, man, that fucking scene is so awesome, dude. Like the way that goes into him and shit, and like the stunt that they do with Bruce Campbell on the side of the truck there, and like the truck going over into the water and him flying up.
That is one thing I will give this movie credit. All three of them credit for is stunt work, dude. Like there is some amazing stunt.
Yeah, they have
all three movies. All three movie has an amazing car chase with so much good stunts going on.
Doesn't all three of them have fire stunts too?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Like
it's like they kind of keep like. I mean, we'll just wait on that. But
the second movie has that like Royal Rumble scene where whoever's doing the stunt work in that scene is fucking incredible because there's long shots of this dude burning.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's fucking so cool because it's real fire. It's a real dude in there.
The long really shots like really impressed me.
Yeah,
but yeah, like crazy. Yeah. I feel like the stunt work is like really like the saving grace in all these movies.
Yeah, like honestly, like I said, all the narratives are a little bit goofy and they actually fuck up in the continuity a little bit too. And like, but it is what it is. These are all fun movies, man. They've got fun characters. I think the kills are pretty cool. Like the stunt work is really what, like the third act in this movie is just bananas. Like it's crazy. There's so much good stuff going on in this, man. This so
one is like the most action of the three. Yeah, where the other two are like more horror. This one definitely has like a thriller action vibe to it as well.
Right.
It's
I feel
also
like this one was the best paced.
It's also set on St. Patrick's Day, partially. That's a rare feat.
Which actually plays into the continuity error in the second movie.
Why?
Well, because the second movie takes place right after the first one. And if you notice in the beginning of the film, we go from St. Patrick's Day, which is in March, and
to Christmas. But does it say it takes place like right after? Or
it does.
It takes 9 months later.
No, it takes place 2 weeks later because the new commissioner that's in the second film, he goes, "I just took this job over 2 weeks ago," and he's talking about for Richard Roundtree, who gets killed in this movie, the commissioner. They literally say that in this movie because Richard Roundtree died, and then he took over his job.
Yeah, but we don't necessarily know that there wasn't another person in place before him.
No, he says that he took over for
right, but you know how sometimes like when someone gets fired or something, there'll be like a temporary person until they get somebody hired.
Like interim.
Well, I mean,
so technically you can explain that away.
I mean, you can, but I mean, I feel like it's a continuity error because
I feel like it's not.
If there's things I'm gonna knock on for this movie, it's probably not gonna be that.
No, I mean,
it's my
for
because
real,
you can't explain it away.
You can't though. Dude,
why?
Because the Bruce Campbell character is talking about the events of the end of the first movie. In the beginning of this film, he's looking at the paper where they've just cleared his name. And it's like, the scene where he dies. It's literally like right after, dude. It's right after the fucking events of the first movie. Like, it's a total continuity. It's just a continuity error. It's not a big fucking deal, dude. Like, it's not. It doesn't affect my love for the movie at all.
Did I say you're the one that's making a big deal out of it? I'm not.
I'm just trying to explain away, but because if you can explain away, your theory of it, I'm just saying Bruce Campbell's character. If you look at the papers, they just cleared his name because all the events of the first movie go down. I'm like, okay, well, Campbell's not the killer. It's actually this other dude. And then he gets fucking
but that stuff could take some time too.
It was literally like a week after kind of thing. It was right there.
You got all kind. You probably had all kind of court proceedings that you had to get through and stuff.
There was no court proceedings because the killer was apparently dead, but didn't find
right. But you're telling me that nobody's going to court for any of this stuff, that all these deaths that happened and shit.
Well, not if they're putting it on. Not if they're putting it on Cordell, because they all saw what happened at the end of the film, and they even talk about how they look for the body.
But dude, in reality, if you get arrested for a murder, like, you still have to go through the fucking the process.
Yeah, the legal system.
Like, you don't just they're just like, wasn't him, and let him go.
Dude, if you're in
especially when there's no body of the guy that killed it.
Dude, he never got he got arrested, but he never got charged with anything. They were holding him because he was the prime suspect.
Yeah, that's true. It's just
right.
Like,
you can't really
dude, if you're in custody
for over 24 hours without.
Dude, if you're in custody and they fucking find who did the crime or whatever, they just let you go. Like, literally, because you're not the person that did it. You don't have to go through any proceedings because you're not involved in it. It's just the way the system works.
It's like the whole theory that it picks up right where it left off, honestly.
Yeah, it's like they clear them. And you know how the papers work, man. I mean, it's big fucking headline news. Shit goes down like that. Like, the papers are putting that shit out instantly, man, because it's big headlines. I mean, that's what papers do. They got to be on it the next day kind of thing.
It's possible.
Okay, you're right. It's possible. But it's still, like I said, it doesn't really matter. I just think it's really funny that one movie is like on St. Patrick's Day and then it's Christmas.
The biggest, like,
they're so far apart.
Missed opportunity with fucking part 3 is that it's not any holiday.
Yeah. There probably was a holiday in there, but they just changed the script so much that they just dropped it out or something. I don't fucking know, man. Do that movie. But yeah, so yeah, this movie's fun. I like how it plays on the whole police corrupt. I like things with police corruption and system corruption and stuff and revenge and stuff. I like stuff like this.
Well, it's actually like kind of relevant to like the last couple of years.
Well, there's a great scene in this film actually where they're sitting at the bar. I think it's Tom Atkins' character. Is it Tom Atkins, or is that in the second film? No, I think it's in this one. Is it in this film where they're sitting at the bar and there's a bunch of people on the TV and they're talking about like the corrupt system or how they don't like trust the police and stuff like that? And I'm just like, oh man, that's so relevant.
Well, actually, they really like it. I think that one of the like cool aspects of this movie that actually, oh shit, fumble. Oh shit.
God damn. Fuck.
But one of the aspects that I really like about this movie that I think is like sort of maybe like under the radar a little bit is like there's a part where like the citizens start feeling like really afraid of cops, right? And to one point where like one person gets pulled over by like a regular cop and she fucking kills the cop because she freaks out. And I thought that was like a really interesting.
Yeah, that's an effective scene too, because like when you put the fear into the people, right? That's how people react too. Like, I mean, if there's a cop going around doing this shit and you get pulled, like, what's the first thing on your mind? Is this the guy that's doing the killings, right? And that scene's effective too because it's actually not in New York. Like her plates say New Jersey, so she's not even in New York. So she's across the harbor in fucking Jersey, and like she's bucking down cops and shit. So it's it's affecting people all around the areas. So I think that's pretty interesting. But yeah, that's a nasty scene, man. She fucking caps that guy up pretty good, man. Crazy, man.
Yeah, they also like the funny thing too is like in the first one, like Cordell's face does look like way more human, but in the second one he looks like a zombie.
Well, I chalked it up to the fact that like at the end of this film he gets that boat mast through the chest and goes into the bay, and who knows how long he was in there. I mean, we see his hand come out of the water and stuff like that. It's very typical
probably about
slasher
like
type
7 months.
Yeah, so like he comes out and he looks like he's bloated. He looks bigger and bloated, and his face is just fucking evil, like just nasty looking.
9 months.
Yeah, like it's brutal. But yeah, so
yeah. I think the first Maniac Cop is like probably like direction, probably the best of the three, like looking like a real movie and stuff. But I don't know. I think I like part 2 better.
Yeah, I don't really know actually which one I prefer. I like this one. I don't know.
I think this is like the best paced and like the most like suspenseful and maybe like I don't know, like the most like I don't want to say interesting. Yeah, probably like the most suspenseful and like maybe thrilling movie. But like there's like height in the second one that like impressed me much more than this one.
Mm-hmm.
The second one feels a little bit bigger. I think they do like there's just a little bit more
like
to
my
it.
jaw was on the floor like during that like fire like scene we were talking about earlier. Like I was like, this is a really fucking long time to be lit on fire, and then like what happens afterward? I was kind of just like, oh shit, dude.
You know what the one thing about this movie that really kind of shocks me though? Like right when the third act is starting, it kind of starts with the death of Tom Atkins' character. Like when he gets fucking tossed out the building and shit. I feel like he dies too early. And actually, when I talked to Tom Atkins about that, he didn't want to die in the movie. Like he wanted to be in the movie like longer. He's like, I don't know why they killed me off so early in the movie and shit. So, but I get that though, man, because like it just seems crazy that they would kill off the character like that because you don't really see that coming, right?
I don't even remember him in Maniac Cop 2.
In Maniac Cop 2?
Is that what you were just saying?
No, in Maniac Cop, he's not in part 2.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's why I was like, I don't even remember him in part 2.
No, he dies with like a half an hour left in the first movie. Remember, he gets thrown out the fucking building and he lands on the car. But when I talked to Tom Atkins about it, he said he didn't want to die. He tried to convince Lustig to keep him alive in the script.
He's like my favorite person in the movie.
Yeah, he literally told me this to my face. He's like, I was enjoying the film and I wanted to, and he's like, no, we got to kill you off. I'm like, what the fuck? But like, now
I want to live, damn it.
But when you watch the movie, you're like, damn, they kill him off with like the whole third act to go. It's crazy. So I think it's a little bit of a missed opportunity, even though like we get Robert Davi, like, playing basically the character, the new lead investigator in the case and stuff in the sequels, which is pretty cool. Cause I always liked him, man.
Oh, from the Goonies.
Yeah. 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 He's, one thing I always thought was really interesting about Davi was that, the part in the Goonies when he sings when he does the opera singing, he's actually a real opera singer.
Is he?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, because I always wondered, like, I'm like, damn, he's really good at that song or singing. And then I looked it up and he actually is a fucking opera singer. I was like, crazy.
Speaking of opera, we watched opera last night and Carly's like, I don't fucking understand opera. Like it's like, why do people like it? And I'm like, dude, I actually really like opera.
I can't stand it. I can't stand it,
dude.
No, I honestly, I'm with Carly on that, man. I've never understood
it. Sounds so good though.
No, it honestly annoys the shit out of me.
I like opera. I want to go to Opera House.
Ugh, I couldn't do it, man. There's no way I could do it. Fuck. Oh my God.
But yeah, what else? What else do we got here? Any notable kills or anything?
I like the kill in in the soft concrete. That always made me laugh. But I mean,
really, have solid kills, but there's like nothing crazy.
No, there's not really that. Yeah, it's not really that crazy, man. To be honest, I like his weapon.
They're not
like,
bad. They're solid.
Like Robert Zard, like he I think he was cast perfect in this film to play this role. Like really, really, he's just big and burly.
He's like a big stunt guy looking guy.
Yeah,
yeah. Was he a stunt guy? I assume he probably was, right?
He probably did stunts, I would assume.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, but I mean, he got a lot of these type of roles because of the way he looked, right? And you know the one.
Yeah, it's super unique look.
The one
Apparently
weird
his nickname, I think, was the Chin.
So was Bruce Campbell's.
Oh wow, dude, Tyler, you're horrible. You're like the worst fact checker ever. He died almost 10 fucking years ago. He's he just died.
That's what I said. I said he died shortly after Wasteland.
Why?
After Wasteland.
Yeah, I thought it was like the last couple of years. I didn't think it was like soon. Like
he died March 30th, 2015.
Yeah, there you go. So it was like literally a year later.
Yeah, it's only like 9 years ago.
Actually, it wasn't even because that was the October. No, that was the April show. So yeah, it was like
his nickname was the Chin. Apparently,
yeah. So they had the double chins in this movie. Crazy.
Yeah, they had a chin off. It was like the Crimson Chin and like Clef the Boy Chin Wonder.
I wish he would have done more movies. He wasn't in, actually. he's in Return to Frogtown.
Hell yeah!
Oh, is he in the sequel? That's crazy.
Yeah, I think I just saw that. Yeah, that's a nice.
Yeah, so we have another Robert Zar movie from this year to get to.
You know what's an interesting little factoid? Actually, like the scene where Sam Raimi plays a journalist. I think he shows up in part 3 too, playing the same character. Actually, does like some investigative.
I think Leo Rossi's actually in this one as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this guy was in over 100 movies, so he probably definitely did stunt work.
Yeah.
Was he really?
I wonder if that was Robert Zar that did the flaming stuff. I wonder if he did his own stunts on there.
I don't think they would never have let him do the flames.
Yeah, probably not, right?
Even if he was doing his own stunts, just because if something goes wrong,
yeah, because he's the star of the film.
Unless they shot that last,
right? Yeah, because Sam Raimi, he's got a small little part in this. He plays a journalist, and he's covering the St. Patrick's Day parade. He actually shot all that footage for Lustig.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it was actually the real parade, right? It's actually kind of funny, like
really.
Well, there was a St. Patrick's parade that he went down there and shot the footage for and stuff. But it's kind of funny if you watch that scene. There's actually a scene where there's a bunch of cops on the side of the road and they're all drinking beer. Like at the fucking parade. Like
that's
how 80s. How 80s is that, right? Like cops in uniforms are drinking fucking beer on the streets. This is crazy. Crazy to see. You'd never see that nowadays, but
right.
That's pretty awesome. Good shit though. But Maniac Cop, man, I enjoy it, man. I think it's got man. Honestly, dude, the Blu-ray, man, the Snaps Blu-ray looks so good. Like this movie looks fantastic. Like honestly, like the production value in all three, like the movies, they all look good. Like I like the fact that
I think the third one looks a little cheap at times, but for the most part,
there were so many fucking problems with the making of that movie though too. So it's I mean. But I like the whole New York aesthetic too. Like, there's a lot of really good.
Love New York. I love fucking New York movies.
I guess he only shot a couple days in New York, but he obviously did all of his transitional shots and stuff first, and used them in the films and made it all seem like it was straight New York. But Lustig's movies always have that gritty New York feel to it and stuff, which is awesome. You get a lot of shots of the towers and in this film and shit, but. Yeah, the aesthetic's fucking awesome. Great cast.
I love the look of nighttime in New York with like all the buildings lit up and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. I was just telling my girlfriend this, like 70s, 80s New York is like one of my favorite settings.
Me too. Especially early 80s. Like later 80s, it's not as like gritty looking, but like early 80s, like Basket Case and shit. Maniac.
Yeah,
like, it's awesome.
Dirty New York.
Yeah, Taxi Driver.
Yeah, that Taxi Driver is like the shining example, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you guys have anything else on Maniac Cop? I mean,
I think we're good.
Without giving,
any trivia that anybody knows or anything?
Well, I said some things.
All right.
It actually does. It actually even says right in the trivia here. Bruce Campbell and Robert Zarr have the nickname the Chin in the trivia.
Holy shit! I didn't even think of that. Bruce Campbell. Yeah, but that's true.
I've said that twice or 3 times.
Did you? Chin.
Yes, like you're totally not listening. You've missed a lot.
I was like, remember I made the joke about like one of them. It's the Crimson Chin and Boy Clef the Chin Wonder.
I thought you were talking about Fairly Odd Parents, dude.
Yeah, but it's because they both have giant chins.
Yeah, it says Bruce Campbell admits that he only did the film because he needed work. He also admitted that he believed the film wasn't any good. So he didn't like the first one either.
Okay, Bruce Campbell.
And I know he like hates the second one. That's common knowledge. That's funny.
Bruce. Come on, Bruce. It's not like you didn't burn over.
Yeah, there's not really much trivia on it, but yeah. Tyler, do you want to start us off with some ratings or what?
Sure. Yeah, Maniac Cop is pretty solid. It's not incredible, but it's pretty enjoyable, and I liked it. It's definitely kind of like in that horror canon, so check it out. 6.5.
Okay.
Did you say 6.5?
Yep, 6.5.
Yeah, he's a fucking one bite everyone knows the rules guy.
That's funny.
That's exactly what I was saying. That's funny.
JP.
I'm come on a little bit higher. I'm a big fan of Maniac Cop. It's always been a go-to of mine. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll give this one 8 out of 10 too.
That's bullshit. You hated it. You at least have to give it a 7.
No.
All you did was bash it the whole time. You don't deserve to give it an 8.
No, I didn't. Man.
I'm just fucking with you.
There's a lot wrong with it. 8.
I'm not going to sit there and talk. Yeah, but no, it's honestly a super fun film. It's really it's got great fucking characters in it, and it's just some of the writing is just ridiculous, but.
Yeah, these movies are all like 85 minutes too, so they go right by. They don't overstay their welcome.
Like I said though, like my biggest you're right though. Like they all run from like 84 to 87 minutes, so they're super quick, man. But I like I said, my biggest complaint with this movie is it just doesn't really know how it wants to portray the Cordell character. Right? Like, I just wish they hadn't put that whole, he was breathing when we released it. I was like, shut up. It's fucking stupid. Stop being confusing, man. He's clearly inhuman. But anyways, that's Maniac Cop from 1988.
Maniac Cop 2. You'll be screaming blue murder.
All right, so moving along here into 1990 with Maniac Cop 2. Again, directed by William Lustig, written by Larry Cohen. And, of course, with the demise of Tom Atkins, we get Robert Davi in this film playing Detective Sean McKinney. Claudia Christian's in this film. She pops up in a lot of stuff, man. Isn't she in Strays? Which I would say we just reviewed that one. It was probably like 2 fucking years ago or 3 years ago, but she's in Strays.
No, I think that was last season, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, she's in Strays. I remember from that movie. Yeah. Was it last season? I don't know. That would have been Cats, right? Zoology Cats. Yeah, it was last year. Yeah. We got Michael Lerner's in this film. Bruce Campbell shows up for a little bit, pretty much to die. Robert Zarr, of course, plays Matt Cordell again. We got Clarence Williams III, who shows up in this movie. Charles Napier's in this movie. Fuck, there's lots of fucking people. Lots of recognizable faces. Which I always respect, man. You know, guys like William Lustig getting all these character actors in films and shit. But
Danny Trejo. Did you say him?
Yeah, Danny. Right. Danny Trejo plays one of the prisoners, I believe.
Yep. Clarence William.
Yep. I said him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Robert Earl Jones is in the film. Tons of everybody in this film you just recognize. Tons of movies and shit. But yeah, synopsis: a supernatural maniac killer cop teams up with a Times Square serial killer. That's all they give you, really?
You know what's going down when the maniac cop's round, yo.
Here's the other one. Officer Matt Cordell, the undead cop. See, I'm telling you, man. Returns from the grave, his watery grave, I guess. Again, this time he is after the criminals who murdered him in the prison, and he is and he is not doing that because he wants to forgive him. Why the fuck would you write that at the end of that? Like, you dummy. That's so stupid. Fucking stupid. So yeah, this movie starts off basically with a recap of the first one. Like, I think it does that in the third one too, doesn't it? Kind of filling some time space with recapping the film and shit. Yeah, it does actually in the third one. They even show the prison scene in the third one too, I think. It's crazy. They really like that prison scene. So yeah. Thoughts on Maniac Cop 2, JP?
I think this one does what most sequels should do, and that's bigger, badder, more kills, crazier. I think it does that well. The narrative is pretty much around the same, but the only big difference is he's like sort of like creating a super team of bad guys. Mm-hmm. So obviously we have the Leo Rossi character. What the hell's his name in the movie? Tucker or no? What's his name?
Turkle or something like that.
Turkle or something.
Yeah,
Turkel.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's just like a serial killer. And and I just think it's like a cool idea to have like a serial killer and the Maniac Cop like meet each other. It's like kind of wild.
Yeah.
But everybody knows the backstory behind that. That originally was supposed to be, I believe, the Frank Zito character. At very least, it was supposed to be Joe Spinell and sort of bridge Maniac and Maniac Cop.
Right.
Which I thought would have been cool.
Yeah, I think that would have worked a lot better too.
Yeah. You don't like Turkle?
I just think it's like unnecessary. Like I like the idea of what like Cordell's doing here, but I think it loses its focus because like you go into this movie thinking that, okay, so in the first film he was cleaning up the corrupt system, and this one you might as well get revenge against the people that actually carved you up and killed you. So that makes a lot of sense, but it doesn't really focus on him going after the actual criminals that much. It's more about him, creating this like super team of like killers and getting revenge that way and stuff. It's weird. It kind of goes off into an area where you're like, okay, I mean, I would have just been fine with, him plotting his revenge against the guys that fucking killed him, because this essentially would have been just where it needs to go, right? Because like I said, he cleaned up the system, politicians, corrupt commissioners in the first one, and then the second one you go after the people that killed you. Doesn't that make complete sense? But like, it just, I feel like the narrative is like so. It's just.
I just feel like there's. I feel like and even going back to the first one, like, I just feel like that it's not. He's not solely doing anything. Like, I don't think he's solely trying to get revenge. I just think he's just a fucking maniac cop.
Well, I mean, but there still has to be a tour de force.
He's killing everyone. Like, he's not only killing like fucking people that did him wrong.
I know, but that's that's what makes it kind of messy though, man, because like generally when you've been harmed, like, I mean, there was a focus in the first film, kind of, right? And there's kind of a focus here, but it strays away from that point so much that it's like, okay, I mean, it's still entertaining as fuck. It really is, but I mean, you can look at it like, he's just a maniac cop and he's just out there doing shit. But there needs to be a little bit of focus, right? Because if you're going to give that idea, that
a little bit,
if you're going to give that idea, like in the narrative or whatever, or the synopsis where it tells you that he's going to go after the people that killed him, and it doesn't really focus on that. It's just, it's kind of misleading a little bit, but at the same time, it's just, this is a wonky fucking story. It really is. Like, it's crazy. So. But I like the relationship, like I wouldn't say relationship, but like between the Robert Davi character and Cordell, because like he understands where he's coming from, kind of thing, right? So there's almost like it's almost like a little bit too much justification though for Cordell's actions and stuff. But like at the same time, deep down as a cop, you understand where he's coming from. Like, he was wrong. He was doing the shit. But at the same time, you can't forgive him completely because, he's completely doing other shit, like murdering innocent fucking people and shit too. So there's like that weird part of the narrative too. That's like, it's strange to me, but I don't know.
I think it works.
Yeah, the narrative isn't really the strong suit in any of these, but it's not something like I'm overly concerned about in these movies.
No, this one actually ends up being kind of the same thing as the first movie. Like, it even focuses even on the politicians.
To be a little bit more dramatic and kind of sacrifice a little bit of like the pacing, but it had a better payoff than the first movie.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the end of the first movie though, like the whole car scene and like going to like that whole sequence is fucking crazy. But this one just like this one just goes haywire, man.
Leaving you happy.
Yeah, like the car scenes in this film, like the car chases and shit, like are fucking nuts, man. Fucking nuts, dude. Like that scene where she's like handcuffed to the car.
Well, oh my
that
God,
scene goes on for fucking ever. You're just like, my God, this is crazy stunts that they're doing, man. It's fucking nuts. And then you get the whole fire
it's way
scenes.
above its budget.
Yeah, and then you get this crazy fucking like Royal Rumble fucking fight scene where they're on fire and shit. It's just crazy, dude. Like it's fucking nuts. But yeah, like the third act of this movie is pretty bad shit, man. It's pretty bad shit. So, the beginning of the movie makes me laugh too. Like with the guy robbing the convenience store, and he's like, "Well, I don't have any fucking money, so I'm just gonna wait around here and shit." He's like, "Well, let's do these scratch offs," and he starts scratching them. I was like, "Oh, you want $5,000?" I'm like, "Oh, bullshit."
So, am I mistaken? Oh, I love that scene. That the opening, it's so good.
But the fact that they actually found a $5,000 winner,
I know,
like, no way.
It's like, hey, you won.
Yeah,
it's like, bro. But am I wrong? Or I thought he was going to the prison to release all the convicts.
Yeah, well, that becomes a focus though too. That's what I'm saying. It becomes a little bit messy because you're expecting him to go when he gets to the prison to actually take out all these fucking criminals that killed him. But it kind of changes the force or changes his idea and like.
Well, but do we really ever know what his idea is?
I don't know. It like if you watch the movie. There's no real focus there. It's like it almost seems like that is the focus at first of him going to do this, but then it just strays away right away and becomes like this whole I need to build up an army of fucking criminals. It's so strange. It's really, really strange. Like I don't know if I would have just preferred it to be straightforward and okay, he's back from the dead and we already got revenge against this one corrupt system. Let's go after the motherfuckers that knifed me up and shit. Like, I don't know. This one just
I think that like the like issue is like hanging. Like, I think you keep getting hung up on the fact that these are supposed to be like revenge movies, but I don't think they really are.
I think they are.
Yeah, I think they're just like shoot and kill movies. Fuck them.
Like, I think that I don't think that the Maniac Cop is like just it's about revenge, really. Like I think it's just about like fucking up the system and like creating chaos.
But still, I mean, it's still revenge. I mean,
he's getting revenge in that way, I guess.
Right. I mean, no matter how you look at the first movie, I mean, he targets individuals for a specific reason because those are the assholes that set him up. And then in this one, like there is a point where I think that he wants to get revenge against those guys too. But yeah, you're right, though. Like it's not just revenge. It's like, I don't even know how to explain this one where you team up with like a serial killer and then you just I guess it's his way of fucking up the whole system that way. Right.
Yeah, he's like being like the Joker almost at this point. Like he's just trying to fucking dismantle the system completely at every turn, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he did what he needed to do in the first one. This one, he just goes fucking haywire. He's just like,
I think the idea that the guys who did that to him were there was like just kind of like a consequential factor, not necessarily like the reason behind him going there.
Yeah, but they focus on that because they show that scene again in this film, like him getting all fucked up in the jail and stuff. It's like I always find it to be a little bit cornball when like you keep using the same scenes in all your films because they show that in the third film too. It's like, dude, we've already seen this film.
It's really bad for us, like people who are watching these movies
back to back.
But like I understand the mindset back whenever, you know, it would take a year to 2 years for a film to come to video. And you might only see it in the theater. Like you might have saw Maniac Cop back in 88 or whatever. And Maniac Cop 2 comes out 2-3 years later. You're like,
Yeah, it probably didn't come out in video till like 1991 kind of thing. Right. So
I understand why that was more popular back in the day. Like, I'm glad they stopped doing that. Right. But like, I mean, I watched Friday the 13th 1 through 8 at the drive-in, and it's like the first 4 movies are fucking recaps of the last movie.
Right. I know. Well, it's like,
and I just watched.
It's like if you ever watch Silent Night, Deadly Night, and then watch part 2 right after. It's like you rewatch half the movie,
bro.
Yeah, you have to watch part 2 all by itself, like at a totally different time, because it's like watching part 1 and part 2. Really, it is.
At least it's like the best bits. At least,
yeah.
I've had like this number 2 Blu-ray forever, and I've never watched it. I always just watch the first one.
I actually love Maniac Cop or fucking Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. Now, I gave it like a 3 when I first seen it, but like, I just think it is like phenomenally like odd, and like the acting is so weird. It is pretty odd. I always saw that garbage like Silent Night 2.
I've never seen the other ones. Maybe I'll buy that 3-pack.
The third one is pure junk. The fourth
I've heard they're all terrible.
No, the fourth one has some interesting ideas in it because like more like it's almost like a body horror movie in a way.
Yeah, it's not really a Silent Night, Deadly Night type film. It's totally
doesn't
like body
really
horror.
Take place in like Christmas that much. It got Screaming Mad George effects, which are always fun. Yeah, and the fifth one I think is actually just like incredibly like wild and weird.
For the price of that 3-pack, you really can't go wrong.
No, that 3-pack's definitely worth it. But the third one is just it's Bill Moseley walking around with a salad bowl on his head for fucking 40 minutes.
So goddamn boring. Yeah. It's so fucking nauseating, that movie. It's boring as hell. Like that, I don't know, for a lack of a better adjective, man. I hate using the word boring, but that's truly what it is. It's fucking boring, man. But I can watch 4 and 5 though. If you take part 4, if you just take the Silent Night, Deadly Night moniker off it, it actually works pretty well for what it is. It's a fun movie. Yeah,
and 5 feels like a upgraded Full Moon movie almost.
Yeah, and 5 has a really bizarre history behind it too, with the whole Mickey Rooney character.
Mickey Rooney thing, yes.
Like, he was out smoking in '84. Like,
he wrote a letter. He wrote a fucking letter, like calling out the producers behind Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, and how awful they were. And then he shows up in Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, or sorry, the first movie. He wrote a letter out against.
Yeah, isn't that fucking crazy? Like, biggest hypocrite shit ever. I mean, he obviously needed some work, and he's like, whoa.
They probably never even told him it was called Silent Night, Deadly Night 5. They probably sold it to him. It was called The Toy Maker.
It was called The Toy Maker, yeah. He got the working script, and it was called The Toy Maker. Oh, I'm going to be in a Christmas movie called The Toy Maker. Dude. But he didn't like horror movies in general, though, so he was being a total hypocrite here, man.
Yeah, they're all fucking dickheads.
Yeah, what a fucking loser. But anyways, back to Maniac Cop 2. So yeah, Bruce Campbell's in the movie for like 5 minutes, basically. He's there to basically die. So
I like his death scene though. Like the Clarence, is that Clarence Williams? No, that's not Clarence Williams.
No,
I forget who that guy is.
He was one of the criminals, I think. Or no,
he's the one. He's the one criminal. He always has that gap in his teeth.
Yeah,
the snake tongue comes out in
Tales from the Hood.
Tales from the Hood. But the blind guy, man, I like that guy. That's
the comic relief of the movie, right? Because he's a blind guy that owns a paper stand.
Yeah,
like,
he's like, I'll buy a dozen of them. He's like, there's a 5 there. You trust me? And he's like, I trust you, Jack, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah. So yeah, that specific scene, yeah, he's there talking to his buddy, and Bruce Campbell's reading the paper, and the headlines are, cop has been, found innocent, blah blah blah. It's just,
9 months later,
they
finally found him innocent. I was like, damn,
fuck off. But anyways, yeah, Maniac Cop, he's found his way out of the bay, and he just walks up behind him and fucking knifes him with his half sword dagger thing or whatever.
It's like a baton knife.
Yeah, baton knife. And
where the hell did he get that at?
And Bruce Campbell is done. That's it. That's his whole role in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and his girlfriend gets it a little later.
Yeah, so she returns into this movie too. Yeah, she was the other cop, and then he ends up breaking her neck, like just right after that, and so she's done.
Yeah.
So,
but the other girl that she's with, man, ooh, that handcuff scene is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking nuts, dude. What, the one in the car you were talking about?
Yeah, the stunts in this movie
Claudia
really overperform it, and they just like elevate this movie far beyond its budget.
Yeah, Claudia Christian, she plays the like in-house psychiatrist, I think is what her role is. Like she's like you know how the police have those like in-house psychiatrist things for their mental health and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what she is. So she's basically teamed up with like Robert Davi and trying to figure out the fuck is going on with all this shit, because there's still non-believers of the Cordell character because he should be dead, but everyone keeps seeing him. So, but yeah, no, this one right here, like, it just feels so much bigger to me for some odd reason. I don't know what it is. It's more the same in the first movie. Like, it's got the same aesthetic. Like, it's New York. It's like very similar characters and very similar things that are going on. But the narrative is just crazy in this one. Like you said, like with the whole serial killer angle, like you would just never see that coming. It's such a weird setup, right? Because this character, like I said, you know, they use the term hero a lot in this movie. You notice that? Like there's a lot of hero talk where cops just want to be heroes and shit. And they think they even talk about like how Cordell was like this hero cop and stuff like that. But he kind of marched to the beat of his own drum kind of thing. And you're right. Like he kind of shoots first and asks questions later kind of cop. But it worked for those hard-nosed police officers and shit like that. But I just feel like the character is they portray him so differently in all the movies, right? Yeah. Like they try to like justify certain things with him, but then, you know, like they treat him like a good guy and a bad guy. And oh man, it's so weird when you watch these movies all in a row, because you're like, what the fuck? It's so fucking weird how they just portray this character. But yeah, this movie's pretty crazy though, man. I think the third act in this shit is just fucking batshit, dude. Yeah. Like the car chases are shot so well and they're so intense and they're so thrilling, and you're just like, oh my God, like
it's like fucking fire stunts, dude.
The
like,
fire scenes. And it's just one after another too, man. Like it's fucking nuts.
That's what I mean. Like I did love it. I didn't love it, but I like this movie, like going into that. And when you got to this stuff, I was kind of like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
It just like it puts.
Yeah, I mean, the burn in these movies are some of like the actual best burns in like cinema history.
I almost like didn't, but like almost don't believe like how good it was. Like for this, for the rest of the movie too. Like like for obviously this isn't a big budget movie, but to like be able to pull off what they pulled off, I thought it was just really, really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
You know, the one thing that cracks me up though, like Cordell's death in this film where he's fighting with that dude and then like they're all burning and shit and they fly out of the building and they land in the fucking paddy wagon. How the fuck does a paddy wagon explode? Like they're burning, but like they land in the paddy and it just explodes. I'm like, it's a cool effect because it's like massive, but like it shouldn't technically blow up like that. It just makes me laugh. Oh man, so good. But yeah, a lot of fire. And I really truly like, I find it so funny that they tried to set this around Christmas too, because it's like, there's no snow in the city. Like, it doesn't feel like Christmas or wintertime at all. It doesn't even seem like it's even cold there. So I thought that was kind of a weird thing too, but I don't know. I mean, the Christmas part of it is like so little and minor though. Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. I would like, it's so little and minor that like, you could like, I wouldn't really lump it into the Christmas horror category.
Mm-hmm. Right.
How do you guys feel? I was kind of wondering that, like looking at like lists of like Christmas. How do you feel about Inside for that?
Oh, definite Christmas movie.
Well, I mean, the whole movie takes place basically in one kind of house kind of thing, but there's that Christmas aesthetic the whole time, right? You see the trees and the lights and stuff.
Yeah, I definitely consider that a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen it. I was so salty. I looked up because I was kind of like looking for stuff I might want to buy at Wasteland. I was looking at the second site and I didn't realize this was only a Blu-ray. It wasn't region free, so I was kind of salty.
I'm actually surprised you're not region free.
I tried to be region free once, and they sent me a player that wasn't region free, and I kind of just fucking gave up because I have like the other TV is just a 4K TV, and most stuff I'm going to import is going to be 4K anyway.
Yeah.
And I also kind of don't want to like set like that's my main TV, and I kind of don't want to like set up like both things on it. I don't know. I would put it upstairs, like where my other TV is, and that was supposed to be my region free player, but I kind of just gave up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one thing this movie does too, it replays like the fucking the courtroom scene too, and the jail scene, which I brought up the jail scene where he dies and stuff, but they play the fucking court scene too.
It also has a Maniac Cop rap at the end.
Yep. By Yeshua, I think that's the guy's name that does it.
I never heard of the people who.
No, I think it's just like a one-off type of thing. But
yeah, but I mean, dude, it's actually kind of bad. Like,
no,
it's like I'll shoot him with a Uzi, then he'll show up in my jacuzzi.
It's catchy, but man, like honestly, dude, that guy's a fucking horrible rapper.
Yeah, it's like cheesy bad. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like there's a handful of like horror films that had like a song made for them, you know what I mean, like a rap song. And it's always funny when they show up. I think there's one for like Waxwork 2 or something.
Is there? Fuck, I don't remember.
I can't remember.
Man, you know what's a cool scene in this film, man? Like I feel like even the blood and stuff kind of amps up in this, but the scene where Cordell goes into the gun range and he fucking blasts all those cops and shit, man, that's some fucking good
that's
squibs
like
and
that's some great shit right there. I love that.
Dude, that was bloody as hell.
It was kills like 19 people, dude.
But the squibs are fucking crazy. Like it looks awesome, dude. There's just fucking blood spraying everywhere and shit. It's just nasty fucking action, dude. It's like
I love the music that plays too, because it's like straight out of a Terminator movie or something.
Right.
That's what it reminded me of.
Right. But it is kind of funny, like the core narrative in this movie too, where they keep bringing up like the corruption and the, you know, in the systems and stuff like that, and they just kind of go back to that part of the narrative, which is like the core of narrative of part one, right? I don't know why they felt the need to fully explore that even more in this film. Do you guys catch on to that?
Yeah, just
it's weird, right? Because they totally bring it up and stuff, and like Robert Davi's character, like they talk about a little bit stuff with the corruption and how he exposed all this shit and stuff. I'm like, it's so funny that they went back to that and they spent a little bit of time with it and stuff. But I was just like,
I like it. It's kind of silly how like his idea for like stopping the Maniac Cop is to basically have the dude say like, yeah, like it was an inside job and we were corrupt and we're gonna bury him with full honors. It's like, but he killed a bunch of people afterwards. I don't think that.
I know.
Yeah, I kind of took it as they were just trying to get him to stop.
Yeah,
it was like a setup. It was like I just took it like it was a setup, really. Because how could you take?
That's how I took it too.
But that's what I meant. How they portrayed this Cordell character. That's another part, right? Like they tried to like justify him, like, oh, he was a good cop at this time, and like, you know, he exposed this shit. But you look at it from the other vantage point, you're like, he's out there fucking killing innocent fucking people.
I guess if you like, if you take it as he's like not him, like it is supernatural, and he's like, you know, then I guess you could take it as like that's not really him doing that.
I don't look at this as him being human. Like even in the first film where they tell you that he was still alive, which I still think is the stupidest fucking thing ever. But he's not though. This guy's inhuman. Like you're right. Like they totally. It's confusing again, like how they portray the character because or the information you get, because they talk about him being brain dead and stuff, but he's clearly not brain dead, because even in this movie, where in the first one he doesn't say anything, he says like one line in this movie, and it's, you know, you understand what he says. He actually says a line in the third movie too, which comes out really clear. So he's not brain dead, right? He's just a walking zombie that can apparently talk now too.
I mean, he might have always been able to talk, but
I'm just saying he doesn't say anything in the first movie. He just happens to say one thing in this movie.
Right.
But, yeah. So, I mean, he's clearly not brain dead, but that's what they give you in the first one. Oh, he's fucking brain dead. And, you know,
I assume he probably was brain dead at one point.
Yeah. But then obviously something supernatural happened.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, I mean, he's clearly can walk around and.
It had to be Sally, damn it. It had to be.
Yeah. It's just not explored. You just got to.
He was kicking it with them voodoo people.
You just have to, interpret it, I guess. Come up with your own theories. I don't know. It's just not explained. It's kind of like the shit in the third one too, with the whole voodoo thing. Like it's some of the sloppiest writing I've ever seen in my life. Like I can't even believe Larry Cohen. I'm sure maybe there was an explanation for it, but to what the motives were for this voodoo priestess to bring back the cop and stuff, because they never disclose in any conversations in that film as to why he fucking does what he does. It's so bizarre. Like, I can't figure it out for the life of me why they even incorporated this. But it explains the end of this movie. So you alluded to the fact that they wanted to bury Matt Cordell with honors and stuff like that, and let his soul rest in peace, kind of thing, like for real, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the movie, basically, we see him being lowered into the ground, and he's in this coffin. And all of a sudden, the last shot in the movie, just like in the first movie, where we see his hand come out of the water. In this case, he's in the coffin, and he busts through the coffin, and he grabs his badge because he threw his badge on the coffin. He grabs his badge, and then the movie ends. You're like, okay, well, this is clearly fucking supernatural because this guy was motherfucking dead. And so the movie ends. But then we get an explanation as to why that happens at the end of part 2 in the beginning of part 3. But
there's maybe we should rate part 2 and move on to part 3.
Yeah, that's just a segue into part 3. So, but yeah, so you guys have anything else on part 2? I mean,
no, I think we're good.
Yeah. Okay. What do you rate this one?
I rate this one. So I think this one is, I think I like to watch it more than the first one. But I'm not necessarily sure if it's better, but I just think it's cooler. It's more, I feel like it's paced a little faster, some more craziness than the first one, but I'm gonna give it an 8.
Yeah, I'm at the same thing.
I'm gonna say the same where I was.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say where I was too.
Wait, you're same 6.5?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I might prefer this one better, but I'm not sure exactly. But I thought like this one like really like kind of like elevated.
You fucking went out of turn, you fuck.
I thought I was next. I'm sorry.
No, Moodz was next.
No, this third act, man, is just fucking, it's bad shit, man. There's some cool kills in this film. There's, I mean, it's very much like the first film, very similar. Not really a lot of differences and stuff, but it's fun. It's just got crazy fucking elements to it, man. Like whole serial killer thing. He seems like it comes out of left field and stuff, but I love the third act, man. Like my favorite scene in this film is watching these stunt guys on fucking fire fighting and shit. It's just crazy, dude. It's absolutely fucking batshit, dude. Sure. Like it's so fucking entertaining and outrageously wild that I love this old school filmmaking, man. Like they pulled no punches, dude. Like the car scenes are fucking nuts. Like the fire scene, it's all real shit, dude. Like these guys getting thrown out of buildings and oh fuck, it's nuts. It's just crazy, man. But yeah, it's it's a solid 8. Robert Dabbie's he was a good replacement for Tom Atkins. So, but
yeah, I like him. Yeah,
and I forgot to mention like Robert Zarr, like he looks way more demonic in this film, like total zombie supernatural. He looks way cooler in this film because like it kind of makes sense because like he dies in the water in the first one. Maybe gets a little bit bloated and aged. And I don't know, but he looks fucking nasty in this one. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. So that's going to conclude Maniac Cop 2 from 1990.
Badge of silence. The Maniac Cop is back.
All right. So getting into the third and final film here on the Maniac Cop trilogy, we're going to get into 1992. So this is killing a bird with one stone, you know what I mean?
The killing a bird with two stones.
2 stones. Oh my God. I can never say that properly.
That's not right. It's killing 2 birds with one stone.
Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Sorry. This fucking trailer keeps playing on here and it was fucking me up. I was trying to watch the trailer on this and I was trying to talk at the same time. And apparently I can't do that. So anyways, yeah, Maniac Cop 3, Badge of Silence from 1992. So this is,
Badge of shit, dog.
Badge of Silence. Yeah, I mean, okay, well, quick synopsis. A priest practicing the voodoo arts resurrects Matt Cordell, who takes his badge and comes back from the dead to do his bidding. Okay. So that's where the problem starts in this movie right there. So this movie starts with the explanation as to why Cordell punches through the the coffin at the end of part 2 and grabs his badge and stuff because this priestess, this voodoo priest, does some type of voodoo.
Isn't it a dude? The voodoo guy?
Yeah.
Priestess would be a woman.
Priestess. Did I say priestess?
Priest would be.
Did.
Okay, yeah. So a priest.
Priestess is a woman.
So we get this explanation in the beginning of the film as to why Cordell resurrects is because he does some kind of voodoo fucking practitioner thing, and he resurrects him. That's what happens at that moment. And so, but like even in the narrative, like in the synopsis, it says, you know, to come back to do his bidding. They never explain in this movie.
What's his bidding?
They never explain why the priest resurrects the cop. There's never one line of dialogue in any of the conversations that they have in this film as to why the priest does what he does. There's literally no reason. I even went back and watched the whole scene. No, I went back and watched the fucking scene today. I finished the movie and I was like, did I miss something? I'm like, why the fuck did this priest resurrect the cop that he has no connection to? And because there has to be a reason. Like, you wouldn't just resurrect somebody to do your bidding for no fucking reason. Like, he obviously
I assumed he was just a fan of what he was doing.
But it says it's bidding. But it says, like, it literally says, like, in every synopsis, it's like, has something to do with the priest, but there's no reason as to what he does. There's no reason given to what he does. Well, it's so bizarre. It just
Bill
goes.
Lustig didn't want to put his name on what Maniac Cop 3 for.
Yeah, well, right away, this movie is just fucking. It's just silly, but it also confirms one thing that it does, that Matt Cordell is fucking dead. We know for a fact that he's actually a walking zombie inhuman killing machine.
At least we got that. I feel like the voodoo dude didn't do shit and just took fucking credit for it.
No, it's so fucking silly, dude. Like, he resurrects them, and I see why they did it in the narrative, though, because like the movie does end, part 2 ends, and you go, well, he's obviously this is obviously supernatural. Because at this point,
they never gave a fuck about that shit before, about like having continuity.
Mm-hmm. Really, so maybe that's why they did this. They put this in here, but then they don't explain anything, and the whole movie just seems like it's so random. It's just like so fucking random. Like this, okay, Maniac Cop's back, and now he's just killing off more fucking people. It's ridiculous, man. It's just I don't know. It's a messy fucking narrative, but so what are your guys' thoughts on part 3? Oh, I didn't want to mention. So there's a few. So Robert Dabbie is back in the film. We also have Robert Forster's in this film too.
Jackie Earle Haley's in this film.
Yeah, he must be pretty young in this one.
Yep.
Paul Gleason's in the film. Robert Forster shows up basically he basically is there to die. He's not in the movie very much, but Doug Savant's in the film.
He took a paycheck.
Yeah, he took a paycheck, but Forster wasn't really working a whole lot at this time, I don't think, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't. But yeah, Doug Savant plays the fucking dick doctor in the film. I know who Doug Savant is because he played Matt on Melrose Place in the 90s. Yeah, shut up. I like that show. So, but
Forrester actually, like, he was really struggling, I think, around this time, and like Jackie Brown like really revitalized his career.
Well, Tarantino actually even said in an interview that he wanted to put him in the movie to help his career out, to get him back on, front, because he was a big fan of him, right?
Take his part.
Yeah, because
Robert De Niro tried to take the part.
Yeah, and then because Tarantino was such a huge Robert Forster fan, so, and he hadn't really done much in years prior to that. So, and of course, Ted Raimi makes a quick little cameo in the film. It's the same character from the first when he plays that investigative reporter or whatever the fuck it is, covering the parade or some shit again. So yeah, Maniac Cop 3, man. Oh, dude, this movie is fucking. It's just messy, and
it just feels like there was a lot of production issues. Like, just watching it, you're like, yeah, this feels like there was some production problems.
But just something so simple as to an explanation to why this priest resurrects Cordell. Like, that's all we needed. Maybe he has an agenda. He's got some fucking, some people did him wrong and he needs this killer. This is the perfect way to do it.
Or just like even something as simple as like, this guy is trying to get better at voodoo, and a guy who like him is easier to resurrect or something, you know?
Yeah.
Anything, damn it.
I know. We just get absolutely nothing. So this movie just feels so empty at its core. Like, it just feels like it's just, okay, well, we can make a third one. That's it. I don't know, man. But it says, yeah, this film had trouble production when director William Lustig's rough cut came in at only 51 minutes. Holy shit.
Oh my God.
He refused to shoot the additional scenes. The producers, as well as the film distributor overseas film group, wanted and quit the project. Wow. The balance of the picture was directed by co-producer Joel Solson. Oh, I didn't even know this. I never read this before. Prior to Blue Underground's DVD Blu-ray release of the movie in 2013, Lustig was the film's credited director, but the Blue Underground version is credited to the Director Guild's American pseudonym Alan Smithy. Okay, we know that. That's interesting. So he basically only shot 51. Well, if whatever they used from his footage, I guess, but. So
here's something on the Wikipedia. So the original script featured a black detective investigating a series of murders in a hospital in Harlem, New York. As the film was already in pre-production and Lustig had started scouting locations and actors, the pre-sale to Japan, which is kind of a big deal because that's going to fund your movie a little bit, did not come through. According to Lustig, the Japanese distributor did not want a black lead in the film. So Japanese people were racist, apparently. Back in
it literally says that. It literally says that.
Yeah.
And people don't realize how racist people are around the world, like in comparison to countries.
But they wanted Davey back in the cast. They had a script that did not make sense, according to Lustig in 2019. Larry Cohn refused to rewrite the script unless he was paid for additional work. The producers declined to pay him. As a result, Lustig had to improvise and cut scenes from the script. In Lustig's words, we got to a point where we shot all the scenes we could shoot after cutting all the other stuff out of the script. And it came out to be like an hour-long movie, so they had to go out and shoot scenes that were just filler. At that point, Lustig walked away from the film.
So I wonder if they shot the priest stuff as like an afterthought, because just to kind of give the end of part two some meaning.
That's funny.
But what they did, they probably could have just shot maybe some dialogue as to why they put that in there. Like, it's just, who knows what they did and what they did.
If anything, you could tell that it was just a mess, just from that little production blurb.
Well, it's funny too, because
Silent Night, Deadly Night it.
The movie's plagued with issues and runtime issues and stuff like that. When you have like this fucking 8-minute recap of part 2 in the beginning of the film, I'm like, what am I watching? Silent Night, Deadly Night part 2 right now?
That's what I mean.
And then they recap a couple things.
Another 8 minutes.
Because they show the killing, they show the shower scene from the first film in this one again later on, and like there's a bunch of filler. There's a bunch of filler just to round out the fucking runtime in this and stuff. But I mean, to be honest, this
is technically almost a TV movie.
Yeah, I kind of like,
because this debuted on HBO.
Right, crazy.
Which I didn't know. Just found that out.
Crazy. So, I mean, yeah, so like the core narrative of this movie is basically about Robert Davi is trying to basically clear this other cop's name who is kind of wronged in what happened. So in the beginning of this film, there's like this fucking robbery that's happening in this drugstore. And then that whole fucking film crew aspect is just so bizarre to me. But people really do that shit, though, right? They did travel around and film shit and like sell it off to the TV stations and stuff like that.
Yeah. So what happened? Paparazzi.
Yeah, I know. It's just fucking such a crazy job to do that, though. Like, it's nuts to me. But anyways, being in this film, like, this cop, she's kind of a hard-nosed cop too. Like, she was known as being kind of like what Cordell was, really. They almost like femalized the
dude, we can get a Maniac Cop 4 with a female with her.
Yeah, because she doesn't get fucking burnt to hell in this movie. That's fucking crazy scene too, man. Fuck, there's so much fire in this trilogy. It's crazy. But anyways, this scene, this drug addict, he takes one of the pharmacist fucking hostage. Anyways, one thing leads to another. She ends up shooting him in the chest, and then she ends up shooting the pharmacist, and she gets all shot up and stuff like that. But anyways, the way the footage was edited, it made her look like she was in the wrong and stuff like that. So Dabby's character is out there trying to basically kind of clear her name and stuff like that, because, you know, he knew that what happened was not really the truth and stuff like that. Meanwhile, you got Maniac Cop doing his shit, going around fucking killing people at random, basically. So, I mean, it's not fully random, I guess. In a sense, it kind of is. But this whole narrative is just, it's all over the fucking place. You can tell, like, how they shot certain stuff and then just kind of popped it in. Like, nothing correlates in this film at all. It's kind of ridiculous, but it does have some pretty decent kills. Like, I like the Robert Forster death. I thought that was kind of funny. Like, he gets X-rayed to death and shit like that. The most ridiculous scene in the film, though, is the scene where Robert Davi's character goes on to one of those hospital stretchers and wheels himself down the hallway.
Oh, and pops out with the 2 handguns.
Yeah, and then he fucking starts shooting all these fucking criminals and shit. Like, comes up from underneath the sheet and he starts blowing them away. Oh, fuck, dude. I started laughing at that. I was by myself laughing out loud. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Yeah,
that was pretty badass, honestly.
But there's honestly, like, there's some pretty cool moments. Like, there's some good action scenes in the film, you know, again, with, you know, the fires. Like, the end of this movie is just crazy. Again, with the fucking fire.
Yeah.
Like, it's just batshit stunts, dude. The stunts are nuts, man.
That's what brings it up for me. Like, it's... I'm ready to not call this movie bad, because, like, the fucking car chase at the end and the fire is, like, insane.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this. When I first seen that, this is only my second time ever seeing this. I did have the Blue Underground 4K. Did you watch it that way, Moodz?
I didn't buy the 4Ks. I just have the old Blue Underground.
Yeah.
You know, remember those combo pack Blu-rays? They look so good, man. Oh my God. Like, the Blu-rays look fantastic. I can't even imagine what they look like on 4K.
The transfer I watched of the second movie kind of sucked.
Oh, really? Because the Blue Underground Blu-ray looks fantastic, dude.
Yeah, I don't have those. I streamed those, but I have the Synapse Blu-ray of the first one, and then
like I said,
significantly better.
Yeah, like I said, like the Synapse one looks really, like, all 3 movies look phenomenal. Like, they just look so much better than they probably should. But so how do the 4Ks look, JP?
Pretty good. I think honestly, they're pretty equal. But maybe I would give the nod to actually, like, the third film. Picture quality wise, I mean, Blue Underground literally does, like, even I'm looking up right now, Blu-ray.com, which is, like, probably the best for knowing how good a video quality is, because they do a really good job reviewing those. They gave it 5 stars for the 4K.
Wow.
Out of 5.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Blue Underground literally probably does, like, the best 4K transfers out of, like, the
But I was even saying years ago, like, before they started putting out their Blu-rays, like, their DVDs always look really good. Like,
and their Blu-rays did too. Like, the especially, like, sort of that later wave of Blu-rays, the ones that were in the thicker cases.
Yeah.
Like the re-releases they were doing.
Like, the first edition of the New York Ripper looks phenomenal on Blu-ray.
So does Zombie.
Yeah, like, those transfers were crazy, and then they put out the 4Ks. And like, holy fuck, these are just nuts, man. Like, they look so crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of their older Blu-ray releases I've upgraded. The only ones I've upgraded, I think, are Dead and Buried and Maniac.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a handful of them of their 4Ks. Like, I have the Maniac, the New York Ripper, 2 Evil Eyes, House by the Cemetery.
House by the Cemetery is the other one. I do want to grab the 4K of that. I have, like, the Zombie and
Toolbox Murders.
Yeah, I might grab the Zombie for.
I didn't grab some of those Blu-rays or the 4Ks. But, yeah.
Uncle Sam, Vigilante, Final Countdown. I have most. I'm missing a couple, but they do really good transfers. I love picking those Blue Undergrounds up. They're just good.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just totally tell this movie, like, it's just one of those fucking puzzle, like, put the pieces of the puzzle together and let's make a fucking movie. Like, there's a really awkward scene in this film too. Like, it's like a dream sequence of basically the cop. I think she's like in her fucking wedding gown and shit like that. Like, it runs for like a couple minutes too, and you're just like, oh yeah, it's total filler in the movie. It's just so out of left field too. Like, it just doesn't even make any sense. But if you know like a little bit of the history of this movie and you go into it, you can really see that this was a disaster production. It really was. But, you know, even with that said though, like, I mean, it's still entertaining because I love the setting. Like, most of this movie takes place in a hospital, which is pretty interesting. I love some hospital settings and stuff. And I think there's some pretty decent kills. There's some really good act. Like, again, all three of these movies have great car chase scenes and fucking fire and shit. Like, the whole third act in this is really entertaining. In fact, I pissed myself laughing because I didn't remember the part at the end where after they blow up the fucking car with Matt Cordell in it, and Robert Davi picks up the fucking severed arm and lights a cigarette. It's fucking burning. But dude, that fucking scene is so okay. So it must run for like 10 minutes at least. This car chase or this scene with the cars, and the whole fucking time, Cordell's on fire. Like,
yeah, that actually is incredible.
It's so long. Like, I don't know how long, like, and how much money. Like, it's just such an incredible stunt. Like, it just makes you go, well, even though this movie has the worst narrative ever, like, it's just such a fucking mess. It's so fucking entertaining. You can't get around the fact that this thing is just, it makes you smile. The whole third act is batshit in this, man. It's crazy, dude. Like, anytime you see a character that's burning pick up a body and it just engulfed in flames and shit, and then it, like I said, it goes on for like 10-15 minutes, I swear to God, the whole end of this movie. It's crazy. And it's just so entertaining, man. But I mean, that's what all three of these movies are, man. They're just, you know, leave your brain on the sidewalk and just fucking enjoy the ride kind of thing.
Yeah. and like I was starting to say before I started talking about the 4K, I do think that this time watching it, you know, I'd only watched it once before. I didn't think it was as bad as I remembered. Like, narrative wise, sure, but it's still pretty fun.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, some of the scenes in the hospital are fucking pretty good, man. Like, you know, is it in the second or is it in this movie? No, I don't even think we brought that up. I think it was in the second film with the guy that gets the ticket. Yeah, that's in the second movie, right?
Oh, yeah. He whips it up.
Fucking Cordell, like, he kills this fucking cop and he puts him like on the hook or on the tow truck hook on the back, and he's just like driving down the road with his body hanging off.
Yeah, that's actually pretty fucking epic, dude.
That's such, I can't believe we forgot about that part, but I was like, holy shit, dude, that. And I like the look on the guy's face too. He just like, he has this big smile on his face. He rips up the fucking ticket and throws it in the car, and he's like laughing about it. Like, what the fuck? It's like so out of. Oh, it's just, it's so bizarre because it's in the broad daylight in busy New York, and this body's just like dangling off the back of the tow truck. It's so epic, man.
Yeah.
It's so good, man.
Yeah, it's pretty goofy.
Yeah.
Like, this movie's like kind of a mess, and it's like, but I don't know, man. Those like flaming car chases at the end, that was just wild.
But like, one thing I'll give them credit for though, man. I mean, they made an effort to finally out the fact that this is crazy supernatural. You know, they do that, but they don't give you any reason for why he brings him back. It's ridiculous, but it's, you know, it's like I said, it's a fan of it. It's forgivable. I mean, I'm not watching these movies. I know I probably came off sounding like a total douchebag in the first one. I'm like harping on the fucking talking about the narratives and shit. But I mean, there is things, certain times in films you just can't help but notice. And I just thought I'd bring it up. Right. I don't really care that much. I mean, it's entertainment value at the end of the day. And even though this movie is definitely the messiest narrative wise, and you can tell it's been pieced together and stuff like that, it's still insanely entertaining with some really incredible stuff that's going on in it. And, you know, for such a plague production, man, I mean, Lustig still put some effort into this shit, you know, and I respect that. So, you know, but yeah, and Cordell looks so off the hook in this film. Like, he's just even worse looking in this one. Like, his face the makeup effects on his face are crazy good too. They look fucking nasty, man. So I think it's pretty cool, man. So, but Yeah. You know what? One thing about this trilogy, there's like no sleaze factor to these movies. You notice that?
Part 2 has some strip club scenes.
Yeah, but it's like it's pretty, but it's pretty clean strip club. Like, I mean, you get a little bit of boobies. It's not like overly like exploitive. It's
nothing crazy though. Right?
No, it's not. It's not overly exploitive. Like, there's a little bit of boobs like in the morgue and stuff, but like nothing's overly exploitive.
Definitely not as sleazy as Maniac.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and that's what I was. That's what I was kind of pointing at right there. You know, like Lustig, of course, did Maniac, and that's pretty fucking sleazy. And then like he kind of throws out that whole sleaze factor in this whole trilogy, really. You know, so I'm just happy that he never went down the road and put it like some kind of crazy love stories into these, because I would have been like, that's gaggable.
That'd been weird.
Yeah. Like you go throw in some love story in Maniac Cop movies, like fuck that. So it definitely stays clear of all that cornball shit. So I like it though. But yeah, no, like rewatching this movie, which, you know, I couldn't really quite remember it, man. Because obviously last time I watched this is when I got the Blu-ray. And it was years ago. I mean, these Blu-rays are older, right?
Yeah, I mean, the 4K itself has been just sitting on my shelf for like 3 years, I'd say.
Yeah. So it's been a while since I hadn't even logged these movies. I hadn't watched any of the Maniac Cop movies, obviously, since before 2018, because if they're not logged in my Letterboxd, that's when I started up, was 2018. So it's been over 6 years since I've seen any of them. So I had a lot of fun with these, man. I had a lot of fucking fun. Like, I did a double feature yesterday before I went out for my dinner, watched part 1 and 2 back to back, and I was like, man, these are fun. Like, just fucking fun.
Yeah, I watched part 1 earlier in the week, and then I watched part 3. No, I'm kidding.
Shut the fuck up with that. Oh, that's so bad.
I watched part 2 probably Thursday. Yeah, the day before we went to the drive-in, and then I watched I started part 3 last night when I got home from the drive-in, but I ended up falling asleep and finished it up after the Steeler game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched the first one early in the week and watched the last 2 days.
Nice.
Yeah.
Got anything else on Maniac Cop, Trey?
I honestly really don't. I mean, I feel like this one's a little bit underseen. Maniac. Yeah, he's a fucking maniac, man. It's more of the same, but just, you know, I mean,
it's got some issues, but it's, you know, narrative wise, it finds a way to.
Yeah, by the end of the movie, you don't even care about like this whole Breeze thing. It's bizarre to me.
Yeah, I was kind of like, all right, this is just like the throwaway movie. But it got to the end where like they were blowing up shit and like there was like flaming car chases. Like, you know what, this is kind of cool right here.
Yeah, you got to give him credit for that.
You got to give it credit for that, man. I mean, that's impressive, especially for it having such a troubled production. I'm surprised nobody died doing that.
Like, it's fucking.
Yeah, if there's something you really got to give credit for all these movies is like its stunt work really like elevates it above its budget.
Oh, yeah, big time, dude! Like all 3 third acts in all 3 of these movies are great. Like they're just so entertaining. This one might even be like one of my favorites though. Like it's like that car scene was on fire is just unbelievable. Like I don't think I've ever seen another movie that they do something like that in.
Yeah. How the fuck do you even do it, man?
I don't know. Crazy. I'm watching this thinking to myself too, like, who the fuck is that? Who is the stunt guy? This guy needs a fucking Academy Award, man. Like, it's crazy, dude. Like, you really put that in perspective, man.
Oh, it's like almost out of place from the rest of the movie with like how good it is.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely.
You know what?
Yeah.
I don't know if I didn't look at the features on these, but I wonder if Lustig did a commentary for part 3 because I'd be curious to hear that.
You know what? I didn't actually even look at the features.
Some extra bullshit we shot.
But it would be interesting, right?
Yeah. I doubt that he has a commentary because I mean it's on the movie. Do you think he's going to do a commentary?
He released it.
I mean,
yeah, but he also
like what if he was just shitting on the movie for like 90 minutes? That'd be hilarious.
because he owns Blue Underground, right?
Yeah, no, he
put the disc together.
Of course, but I can't see him doing a commentary for it because he kind of disowned. You know. The reason why he put these out is because he understands what the fans want. People wanted these movies. So even though he doesn't like this movie at all, he's been very outspoken about that. obviously took his name off and shit. It doesn't mean he's not going to put the effort into releasing it because it might sell. Okay. It might sell
on the 4K here, which I got from Bull Moose apparently because it has a sticker on it. Extras, disc 1, new audio commentary with director Alan Smithy.
Wow, it actually would be pretty interesting to listen to that.
Yeah,
even to watch the whole third act with the commentary on would be pretty entertaining because you probably get some pretty good shit out of that.
It literally says Alan Smithy. That is hilarious.
What if he actually just like stays in character the whole time and he's just like pretending to be Alan Smithy and like talking in a fake voice?
I mean,
that would be funny.
He's got to be one of the only people ever to basically take his name off a movie and then do a commentary. How many other movies that have the pseudonym Alan Smithy on it that have commentaries, right? Because people do this for a reason, because they don't want to be associated with the movie, but to do a commentary, it doesn't seem like something.
Yeah, but it's also they don't want associated with it at the time because they think it's going to hurt their career. Whenever you're like,
isn't this one of the last Lustig movies? For fuck's sakes, like what did Lustig even direct after this? I can't remember.
Uncle Sam.
Oh yeah, you did do Uncle Sam. I forgot about that.
So what else we got? With actually, Smithy on it.
Uncle Sam actually was the last. Oh no, he did another movie yet. Oh no, that is the last movie that he did. Literally was. He directed. Oh, he's uncredited for The Expert. You know what's a really, really underrated fucking movie that he did is Relentless, man. That is a good fucking movie.
I've seen that.
And where is the Blu-ray for Relentless, man? It's great, dude. It's a good one, man, with Judd Nelson. Yeah, Leo Rossi's in that movie too. Meg Foster. It's good, man. It's a good thriller.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out one day. Maybe it'll get released.
I think there's actually 3 of them. Yeah, it only has a DVD release that I think is out of print. It's really strange that movie hasn't got more love because, I mean, if you talk to people that have seen it, it always gets highly rated, man. So, but yeah, Maniac Cop 3. I guess it's my go, right? So, I'm going to give this one a 6.5. Solely because of the third act. It's a messy ass film, but I mean, it still has all the elements that we've enjoyed through, the first couple films and stuff. It's got the ridiculous superhuman strength of the Robert Zars character, Matt Cordell. Like, that's one thing that we didn't really bring up in this, but like how many times he throws people and they just go for like 40 feet.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous. Like, there's so many scenes in all these movies where he's just tossing the shit out of people and they go way too far. It's almost like Japanese over the top shit. Like, it's ridiculous, but yeah, pretty fun though, man. But yeah, this is honestly one of the most entertaining third acts of anything you could watch. It's just amazing to me. It's so good. So, but yeah, I'll give it a 6.5. Tyler, what do you got?
Yeah. I was ready to say this movie sucks, but the third act kind of won me over. So I'm going to say, maybe it's not good, but it ain't bad. I'll give it a down the middle 5 out of 10.
JP.
I'm going to come in at a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, 6. Yeah, honestly, man, I really think the third act's great. And some of the kills in this movie were really good too, man. And it's cool
definitely better than I remembered.
Robert Forster. Like,
yeah, I didn't think it was like god awful or anything.
One thing about this movie that really drove me nuts, besides the fact that they didn't explain away the priest thing, but if you look at the priest character, like his neck, he obviously like resurrected himself, maybe too, because his throat is slit from ear to ear. Do you guys notice that? Which they never allude to. They never even bring it up. It's never talked about. Oh no, we actually didn't mention that. Robert Zara actually has a
hangman scar.
Yeah, he has a line in this movie too, where he says a line, something about finishing the voodoo stuff because he wanted to resurrect the cop. So, but she couldn't because she wouldn't allow it, and that's how they kind of explain it away too, because that's how he brings it back, because Cordell soul allowed him to be resurrected, where she didn't allow it. She wanted to just rest in peace. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, real clever, real clever. So, Anyways, yeah, so that's Maniac Cop 3 Badge of Silence from 1992. So, yeah, that's the third watch from 92 for myself. Good stuff, good stuff. All right, well, that's going to conclude episode 268 here on the 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? That's it.
We'll see you guys in a couple weeks with a franchise show.
And what is that franchise going to be? Oh,
Thick House.
It is House. I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah,
that's what it is. So
something we've been wanting to do for a really long time.
Yeah, so. it's one that we've had in the back burner for so long. You know, there's a few that I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to do the prom night movies, and what was the other one?
Critters.
Oh yeah, Critters. Toxic Avenger.
Well, Critters 4 is a 92, so I think we're definitely doing that, right?
Is it 92?
Yeah. Yeah, I said March for that.
I think I already said that earlier. Yeah, Critters 4, yeah. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll try to get Critter Buster on.
Yeah, I have reached out to him and he said he would be honored to be
unless he's going to be too busy doing all these terrible fucking Amityville horror sequels.
I feel like we need to make a Amityville at this point.
I was kind of reading that, and he goes, "Yeah, you know, if you like this one or whatever," he's like, "I'm going to be in a bunch more of these things." And I'm like, "How come we're not getting any parts in these fucking silly ass movies? Come on, man!" Because you know these people are just filming their parts at home on their
yeah. I think the last time I looked, it's in the 60s.
Oh my god, it's so fucking
for Amityville.
That is crazy, dude. That's absolutely fucking. You know what? Actually, what's even crazier about the whole Amityville franchise is the dude on our fucking webpage that is reviewing every single one of them.
Yeah, I actually know two people who are doing that. Tim Gross of Gross Fest, the convention here in Pittsburgh area. You've probably met him before. He goes to Wasteland. He is
I actually know
reviewing them.
I actually know who he is. Yeah, I know who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, he's also in Bathtub Shark Attack, and he's friends with Maddie and me and Carly.
Yeah.
But
that's cool.
We'll see him in Wasteland.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which, by the way, that's where we'll be. That's why there's no show next week, because we will be at Wasteland.
That is right.
Wasteland. So come get wasted with us.
Yep, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a wasteland.
I will be, man, I'll already be home at this time a week from now.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well,
Wasteland will have come and gone.
I got to wake up in like 4 or 5 hours. So.
Oh, really?
Need to go. Yep.
Why? Oh, you're working in the morning shift? Whatever.
Yep.
Oh, that sucks, dude. I'm on holidays for 2 weeks, man.
Nice.
So actually tomorrow is actually a fucking holiday. Like it's actually a stat holiday here. It's like reconciliation and
I know you guys have a million holidays. Quit.
I know. It's fucking weird. I don't even know what the holiday is, to be honest, but yeah, so yeah, that's going to conclude episode 268, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks with the House franchise, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, if you're going to Wasteland, come say hi. We're all going to be there. And that's that.
All right.
We're out of here.
Peace.
Deuces.
That's all, folks.